Cek. Halo, halo, halo. Ya. Wah.
Even one of the coaches was quoted saying something like, even if you lose 13-0, just please hold W, just hold W. And we didn't get to really see that from them until they got to play against Foot on Bind after doing this kind of comeback after Foot had a blunder on one of the rounds, let PRX do a defuse, they got back in the game, they closed it out, and then they go and just start to steamroll. But EDG has been looking good at setting the tempo, so I don't know if they get the same sort of footing into the race as they did against Foot.
Yeah, I know, and no pun intended, of course. That's the important part.
No, I say it all the time. I can't stop it.
Yeah, trust me, I have my foot in my mouth all the time, right? See, I did it again. All right, well, ahead of today's matchup, Yinsu caught up with Kong for a quick chat. Let's see what they had to say.
I'm now joined by Kong from EDG and Luna to do some translations ahead of today's matchup. Now, Kong, every single time you've come to a global stage, you've had to face PRX. So I had two questions for you, actually. First question is, how do you maintain a friendly rivalry with them? And second question is, you faced Forsaken many, many times as well. Is there anything nice, maybe a compliment you want to say to Forsaken as well?
我觉得跟他们每一次都很友善，就是因为在训练赛无论如何还是私底下就是一起玩游戏嘛，然后就感觉大家都挺友善的，然后挺有意思的，他们都是一群很有活力的朋友嘛。然后我其实如果对我来说，我想对 Forsaken 来说的话，就是希望能够呈现一场精彩的比赛，然后友谊永存。
And actually, no matter it's during the scrims or in private, they are super friendly and interesting people, and also they are so energetic. And what I want to say to Forsaken is we want to present a beautiful matchup to all of you guys.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much, Luna. Good luck, Kong. 加油.
Well, look, every single time we get to watch EDG, and specifically Kong, he does present a beautiful matchup. The guy is an incredible player. He truly is an X factor for this team. And, well, they're still chasing that top 4 finish. They're still chasing, the highs that they have had previously at these other events, Mimi. And this is an EDG squad that I think are in a position right now that I think they're pretty darn strong. They just happen to run into an even stronger G2.
Yeah, they're in really good form right now. They took a map over G2, stomping them on Austin. And it's been a kind of a continuation of what we've seen from the other CN teams. FPX making waves at both events to come out on top here and really have people remember them. And EDG as well, making this somewhat controversial roster move to bench their IGL, pick up a brand new player. But thus far, it's been working out quite well. I think Simon has fit into this roster and been performing to a very high level and has had really good util usage throughout his time on this team at Champions.
It's always good when you have an initiator that can kind of put in that good utility usage and support up the rest of the team, but it's followed by a lot of good teamwork as well and good pacing. It's not like they're kind of like doing things one by one necessarily. I mean, sometimes they do and they go big with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we've seen this whole play, remove your IGL not work out. So for it to kind of work out here is a pretty good omen for them.
Yeah, he's still kind of filling into the assistant coach role right now for the roster, and you have seen them get a lot of success out of their timeouts. You can't really say if that's how Dong putting in the work or any other factor, but EDG, they've really, I think, reinvented themselves. They're a team that was sometimes known for being a little bit stale, playing some of the older stuff, playing like double duelist comps after they went out of fashion, really relying a lot on Kangkang's individual skill. But I think they're showing an EDG that has really solid macro and also is playing a lot of these ideas that we've seen other teams from different regions pick up, implementing more of the neon into the mix, playing a lot of the breach stuff, which has become pretty meta. This is an EDG that is ready to adjust their style to find something that will be effective, to find that top four, that deep finish.
As you say that, I mean, we also see them playing the old like KO Sova and Icebox still.
Sure.
So I mean, everyone else has moved over. We're seeing like the Harbor Viper. We're seeing the Gecko being used to get that wingman, get that spike plan, and they're just running this, I guess, 2022 comp.
Yeah, they're doing that.
Maybe
and
2021 even.
They've also followed in the footsteps of FPX and are playing Clove on Lotus, which none of the Western teams are doing. They have this weird mix right now of new Western comps, old stuff, and then the unique China stuff that no one else plays.
Honestly, I like that Clove Omen, just double controller Lotus. It's funky. It gets you in the action, a lot more fights, but it kind of does the same thing that the Viper does, but it's just allows you to enable more of these types of fights and duels that you want to take.
The Clove has so much agency in that comp compared to the Viper.
Oh yeah, well of course, we'll see what they end up busting out and as well as what the maps are going to end up being here. But for the time being though, we did get an opportunity to speak with Smoggy about the loss to G2 and bouncing back in this Omen player moment.
Hello， 大家好，我是 EDG 的 Smoggy。我觉得两张图都是11比13，双方打得有来有回的，也是比较可惜吧。可能是因为我们赢了第一张图的原因，然后导致图2在后面有那种快要胜利的感觉的时候，我们自己会去打断自己怎样去拿分的节奏。但是我觉得我们就是已经尽力了。
The one as well might be a bit of that false information. Oh, underhanded Simon is eager for the scrap. Does come up with the one. Is he going to be into his face as well? Plenty of targets, but over Jonah P just did not know which way to adjust. And this is it, surely. The impetus to take away this map. Nanoswarm's at your feet, detted, ready and waiting. Trent is spotted, taken out, swinging wide.
我觉得我们现在队伍的状态已经比前2次马德里、上海大师赛状态都要好很多。然后我们也会去把自己的失误和问题都去一一解决，然后我们会以更强大的面貌进入淘汰赛，因为我们知道我们输在什么地方，会在这个冠军赛上取得更好的成绩。也谢谢大家支持我们EDG。
This is a team, and you heard from Smoggy there, this is a squad that has aspirations for the top of the mountain here. And they have the capability to do it, but they feel like, Steel, that they are playing at their absolute best form right now. It did show in that G2 game, even though it was a losing effort. And I think if you are an EDG fan, you're still feeling quite confident about this team. Would you agree?
EDG is, yeah, I would say so. And one of the things I want to point out is from that interview, he was talking about how they were addressing the mistakes kind of one by one as they came in. And it's trusting that sort of process to be able to get to that next level. So, you know, this is going back to, do we want to look at these previous results against PRX, or do we want to look at how they are right now? Because if you're losing constantly, especially against a specific team, then you really have that time to digest what's going on and resolve every situation as it arises. And it looks like they have put a lot of that into play here, because, you know, this could have been the #1 seed going out of this group, going into the playoffs, but they narrowly lost in map 2 and 3. I think it was 13-11 to G2. So, you know, that is impressive right there and then.
I think there is something to be said about like the history matchups when you play a team and you lose them. A lot of times they're being a mental block there, but I don't think that's the case with this matchup, because EDG has beaten them before, and they've also changed up their roster and brought in new ideas since that loss streak that they had to PRX. So I feel like they have to be coming in incredibly confident today. Losing those 2 close matches, there is a lot to learn from it against that G2 game, but still, I think their form right now is way higher than the form we've been seeing from PRX here.
Yeah, well, speaking of PRX, let's go on to the other side of the field. Talk about W Gaming. PRX, now this is a squad that started things off a little rocky, right? They met the ire of G2 early on, but were able to bounce back in a big way against Foot when it mattered most.
And EDG played an incredibly close game versus G2. PRX got rolled. Their fundamental issues got exposed. G2 played their slow, classic style and ripped them to
W
pieces. But it's a completely different story in this Foot game once they came online with that Sunset win.
So PRX looks to me like a team where if they're starting off slow, everything's falling apart because they are really good at causing that chaos and being aggressive and explosive and W gaming. But when they're doing like shift W gaming, it's a completely different story. And then when they get to playing against, when they got to Foot, even on Bind, they were steamrolling through. They got to like a 7-0 lead, and you could see they keep kind of going too aggressive, and then that could bite them, where it's like they overextend. They get the opening, they get their advantage, and then they blow it by peaking more consistently one by one individually, losing that advantage, losing that lead, and then suddenly it's like, oh, wait, there might be a game on our hands here. So finding that soft spot, that sweet spot of not overextending and overcommitting, but still keeping that killer instinct and the confidence to go for it.
And I think their issue is once they start to make those mistakes, overextend, lose a few critical rounds, they have a tendency, I feel like, to over-adjust and play kind of scared, play really passive, not take those risks that defines their style. And in a lot of these series they end up losing. I feel like that kind of over-aggro into way too passive, the pendulum swings too far either way, and they can't find their way back in.
One of the interesting things I noticed from their Bind game against Foot is that they running that 100 Thieves comp with a fade, the raise in the situation, they did some passive rounds on their defense. They had a really strong defense, and it started off with these explosive, like, run down long B, get these fights, get things going, but when Foot started fighting back a little bit, they kind of fell back into some of these passive setups, and it worked for them really well.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that PRX making those adjustments on the fly, courtesy led them to that win, of course. But for now, though, let's actually go ahead and check back in with Yinsu, because she's standing by with Forsaken.
I've got Forsaken here from PRX with me. Now, I spoke to Kalo a little bit earlier, and we spoke about how even though you always play against each other and in elimination matches as well, it's a wholesome rivalry. You know, you guys are very friendly. So I wanted to ask you, how do you maintain that friendship on and off the server? Because he said that he felt like you guys are all very nice, energetic, friendly players, and he just wants to make sure that both of you play a good game today.
Close up.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's gonna be a good game because we met them again and again since like last time. I mean, we always friendly, even though we always met each other in tournament. As long as Kangkang don't do this to us, we're good, you know? No beef. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to do to him, maybe, if he does pull that out?
Maybe if he do this to us, maybe something will do this to you, you know?
All right. Thank you very much, Forsaken. Good luck today.
Kenapa something do this bukan kau?
Forsaken's such a nice guy, I will pay good money to see him pop off on the stage and talk crap to the other team. But you know what, though? I mean, no matter how you shake it, this is going to be an incredible matchup because these two teams, they deliver every time they play against them.
Yeah, PRX has struggled a little bit this season to find the form that got them to the Champions Final last year. But this is a matchup they're very, very familiar with against players they've played at every event. And if there was a game for them to step back up to their best, I think it would be this one.
What do we got for predictions, by the way?
EDG, they've just been too good.
I put EDG, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'll just stick to it.
All right, he's sticking with it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and bring out the teams for the final match of the group stage. You got EDG going up against PRX. Let's start the show.
Edward Gaming. PRX.
It's the final match of the group stage, and it can only end this way. Two teams who have encountered each other time and time again, but PRX has had their number. The question is, can EDG muster up the ability to defeat PRX here in their Pacific region? Is it doable? This, of course, is going to be your series layout. You have Icebox, Sunset, and if necessary, we'll be taking a trip over to Lotus.
We start with two respective strengths for these squads. We saw PRX play against Foot on this Sunset. I think their Sage comp has been really good. They've been playing it for a long time. The last time these two teams faced, PRX took this map over them. But EDG gets to start on an Icebox, which was the one map they took over G2, and I think looked really good, especially on those attack sides.
And it looked like G2 also crushed PRX when it came to that Icebox map. But here, kind of like an interesting mix of maps here, hitting some of the strong points, but some also really the first top two picks coming out of here. So it's going going to be interesting to see how this kind of like tempo starts. It's all on EDG to set the tempo and let them control the pace of everything. If PRX can't get their speed, though, that steamrolling going, then it's going to be very scary for them, because if they lose that first map, which they've been having these really slow starts, losing that first map almost a foot as well, that is the scary thing for PRX.
EDG has some really good coordination on this map. The G2 series, I think, they had a great read on these deep fights, especially on their B-Executes fighting through and stopping G2 before they could commit to that retake. Great synergy around the flashes that Simon was bringing out. They're playing this old-style, sageless comp with the KO and the Sova in the mix, but I do think you see some of that value in the coordinated team fighting with that double initiator utility.
This is a composition that's so difficult to clear out all these angles. Sova is a Sova, single initiator here, without having a Gecko or a KO to be able to clear out some of these angles, means that Kangkang is going to be able to get that op up, and it's going to be very difficult to push him off. And even though that stage wall is in play from Jing, it's very difficult to actually get a whole lot of value, because you still have to commit to planting yourself.
Yeah, and you mentioned these slow starts from PRX. If they start slow here, Kangkang gets an op online and he starts avoiding that Sova drone, this could get real dangerous for PRX really quick.
All right, folks, this is it. Final map of the groups, final match of the group stage. Who is going to lock in their spot for playoffs? Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. You got Brennan Sideshow yet again on the call.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this is going to be a bittersweet match, I think, here with EDG and PRX. Historic, obviously, because they played against each other multiple times now. But for both of these teams, the expectations that they've levied on themselves, I think, have been to reach much greater heights. And they don't want their year to end here and now. An exit out of groups for both of these teams would be that disappointment.
But at the same time, while the players on stage might be full of those excited nerves, snakes in their belly, for us at home, for us being able to witness this is a clash between two teams who are fast-paced, explosive, always put on a show.
Yeah, enough to make even Icebox exciting. That's what I love about these teams. They will give it their all.
D1 Icebox hater.
I really am. And there's contact caught by Smoggy. He's just going to get that information. Now PRX is going to be making sure to take that space rapidly. That.
Look
it's
how
an interesting
deep
yeah, I mean, the Viper wall, the Sage wall, trying to fight for that backside control. And underhanded flash from Simon just does not get that value. Simon, this guy is just unreal. Something on an absolute worldy so far. It's a three-piece. It could be on for the ace here, but it's going to be settled down to that 2 versus 2. To tag up onto these players. I'm going to try and force the issue. Nobody under immense amounts of pressure. 9 HP here. The fuse for Smoggy pushed off and away from it. Still lands a shot, but he's down to 4 HP. Whittled down to barely anything, enough for Forsaken to clean it up.
I hope we're starting as we mean to go on with that kind of pistol round. PRX took so much control over the site. Instantly, as soon as you see where the Viper wall goes down, you know you've got a brawl on your hands. And the flash didn't quite connect onto something. I believe he got saved here. Oh no, not quite. I thought the heal had come through early, but he still had that debuff because he'd recently taken damage. Knocked down that 30 damage from the pistol, taking him to 10. A stellar pistol round though, from something. He picks up 4.
Form, I feel like is, I mean, I don't know. I was paying attention to that as a factor coming into this match here, because in terms of map pool, kind of throw it out the window both of these teams. The permaban is Ascent. They ended up floating it. In theory, that means that we're going to end up on more middle ground maps here on Icebox, Sunset, Lotus. So I want to see if they can carry forward these improvements that they've made off the back of their last series played. Keep it going all the way. Something has not slowed down. We stopped in his tracks by Kangkang.
Kangkang responds there. But they're still going to be able to retrieve that rifle. Goes over onto Forsaken.
Very obvious in terms of the flash there. Just drops around. Pistols are doing work now from EDG.
Nobody helping Jing.
Yeah, and rapidly approaching his position here. Just the Guardians in hand. Not exactly the most ideal weapon as well against this anti-eco, but finally the crossfire setup comes through. Collapses onto them.
Nice.
With 3 surviving into the next as well, you can keep a lot of these guns going in for the bonus.
Yeah, not bad. And Forsaken only brought a pistol into this one too, so they're still going to have 4 big weapons heading into their bonus round. I think, just to speak on the map pool for a moment, while we've got this small break in the action, PRX's map pool's really small. People are referring to it as the PRX map puddle, not the map pool. But the fact that they've been allowed to get Sunset in here, because like you said, EDG they don't really want to ban the perma because it's shared between both teams, but they also didn't target ban. So actually we're going to get a map pool that PRX is fairly comfortable on, which is a bit unusual. I don't think we'll see that too much if they survive forward into playoffs.
They went for the ban on bind instead, which
Mati nih orang.
after watching PRX,
Ya, dimajuin.
nobody made improvements.
Incredibly deep there.
Nobody
Kind of on
push.
his own. Wasn't synced up with Kong just for a moment at the beginning. Takes the duel. It's a risky one against something and wins it. I will be enjoying it if we get risk taker nobody coming out today because his aim can be unbelievable when he gets that confidence, and he limit tests.
Yeah, he does. Just tries to bail himself out of some of these
No.
risky positions and spots. Chichu is quite lucky to be walking away there.
Untung nggak ke headshot.
And there's no mid smoke down from Mind Freak. PRX decided not to invest that one at the beginning, and he's actually
Kaget
taking
nih.
contact here.
Yeah, okay, he's going to be covered over the top. That's
Cover.
Chichu making sure he's there with the rifles in hand. Kang the punish.
What
Already traded
the?
out Simon though. He's a lone survivor towards the back of the
Oh.
site, operating alone. This guy's getting chewed up and spat back out again. Chichu, the control to contain, plug up the hole up through mid. Knows that the remaining two players are down onto this site, but what a hell of a task getting to overcome. And into the post plan here for PRX. Doubled up. They'll be able to secure that one easily, as it's said.
Nice,
That's a bonus round for them as well that they're just bringing onto the board.
And one where they had to
Tire
hold
ya
up pretty
berarti.
heavily. The fact that Mind Freak's holding onto his Viper's Orb at the beginning of the round, that indicates to me that they were going for an A hit, a full A hit, and then as soon as something died, right off the rip, they thought, oh, well, now we've got to pivot, actually. We can't just go into A. But this defense on A crumbled as soon as nobody got caught. That kind of synced up play from Jing at the same time as Mind Freak, taking out nobody, and then Kang caught on the back pedal. EDG are going to have cleaner defensive setups if they want to stop PRX. This team is going to push you to your limits. And unless you're tight, super disciplined and ready for them, anticipating what they're going to throw at you, it's so difficult.
Take flight. It's going to be even harder. We're seeing a lot of bonus round conversions so far at this event. I mean, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but
a lot.
They're a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a
they're
lot.
definitely a lot compared to the usual and the norm, so massive advantage.
I think Sentinels have contributed to a ton of those.
They really have in that Gen G match. Jing's going to get this plant.
Ooh.
No, it's okay. It's actually ult committed. You know, EDG are on that half buy.
Yeah,
They're going to be
dapat Jing.
rewarded in kind. That's 2 pickoffs. Chichu trying to contest and tango, but he's going to be calling for the
Yeah.
reinforcements, and a double swing with the discipline is nice.
That's so well played from EDG. And now the spikes
VCT, yeah.
abandoned. 2v5. Something in Mind Freak left to try to bail this out, and they've walled themselves off for going for any kind of control.
Yeah, just barely missing the body up towards the top.
Yeah,
Smoggy, what a
3v.
shot to hit. And something,
Ya,
sent
3v.
to the grave.
What a
No.
way to open up and get your first round here. When PRX's form was looking better, I'll tell you what I love in particular though. Chishu, smartest player in my opinion on EDG. At times has looked like the best as well. But he contributes massively there to that MasterCard Thrifty by jiggle peeking
Jurus
onto
senjatanya
Forsaken. And
diambil
Forsaken
semua.
knows he's going to get swung, so he can't just start running,
Thrifty
otherwise
flawless
it's an easy
kan?
pick. So when Chishu jiggles like that, he's just delaying Forsaken and buying time to set up the double swing. He's just doing this jiggle to wait for his teammate to come with him, and there's nothing that Forsaken can do. He's worried about getting timing.
So EDG are right back into it. All that talk about the bonus round conversions, how much it matters and means.
The mold begins early.
It really does. I need to see a lot of coach cams.
Placing swarm grenade.
I'm begging you.
Swarm grenade out.
So the money's going to be relatively equal on either side, so we're going to get a gun round. A lot of ults for PRX to potentially work with. Mainly Forsakens is what I'm looking at. Chuchu's a while away from the lockdown, so might not have any intention of saving it. Smoggy once more sees the cloud burst here. He knows that he's under threat into this position, and the off angle will be punished.
Plus the 1v1. Something on top, on a high ground, favored in the fight against Kong, who is trying to capitalize on Smoggy's swing, and it just ends up being a raw jet duel that Something wins.
That just goes into that extension of the post plant.
No man ketahuan.
Ahead with the flash
Nice.
as well, but never been more obvious.
No.
Over the top there from nobody to return that fire. Chichu beautiful again with that rifle in hand, but so much more to do at this point in the game, in the round. 1v3. He's looking to isolate some of these fights as well. He's not going to be giving it though. This is PRX looking very well
Nice
drilled.
boss plan.
I was wondering if they were going to be able to carry that form forward. From the last series they played, that bind map, I was dead impressed with them. They were all in sync, working as a unit, and there's nothing scarier than PRX when they've got that hive mind going for them.
That's so true. I've actually been fairly impressed with both teams and how they're setting up their coordination.
Yeah.
And that wasn't just a solo peek from Smoggy. Smoggy and Kang trying to swing together. It's not necessarily so that they can double face, but more so that they're trying to work off the distraction. Like everyone focuses on Smoggy and then Kang gets in, gets one, gets out. It didn't work there, obviously, because PRX were also super ready for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this too, not
Empat
just
lah,
the discipline,
41,
but also the
41.
pace and the anticipation is so important. Because in a situation like that, something is so fast on top of yellow, he's ready for Kang. If they set up that play 3 seconds earlier, maybe Kang can catch something as he's up, trying to get ahead of the tempo that PRX plays at and be ready for them. It's a mammoth task, but the best teams in the world, Gen G, for example, when they were incredible at shutting down PRX, and for that matter, kind of have been for the majority of the year, that's what they rely on, is that being there ahead of them and anticipating what they're going to do. At the moment, it's still...
They are, but I didn't mean any disrespect to EDG as well with some of the earlier comments, because they have been making improvements. I mean, the G2 match, I think, really did. We saw almost the best out of them, I think, playing up to the potential versus that team. I saw glimpses of, like, anti-stratting and the discipline coming together with the firepower.
It was so winnable.
It was.
I mean,
it was so winnable.
Unbelievably winnable there on Haven, and it just slipped out of their grasp. Kang is going to try to take this game back into his fist with this operator that he's got posted on top of yellow. Looking to do exactly what the desk was talking about. Dodge that drone. This time, though, takes a tag.
Won't be able to do that. It's a ballsy fury.
Wah, gila di
Doing
ulti dong.
Jet, good luck, son. Forsaken.
He doesn't play too much Sova.
No.
Gila di ulti dong sama berbakan.
But that is a hell of a task.
Lagi terbang loh.
And obviously no damage done to Kang. He's able to escape.
At the same time, though, all of that pressure over towards B has perfectly obfuscated where PRX are actually intending to go. Oh, a completely free A site here.
Oh,
even
nice
enough
plan.
time for Jing to leisurely break
Anjir,
the
battle
nano
stage
swarms
beneran
and
nih
get set
orang.
up.
Not a soul in sight. For any sort of flood defense play by EDG, they've got to wait for the rest of their team to get in. They're using a drone early on here. Very forward position set up by Divide. Dodged the drone, just tucked, but now they want to try and double up and take the fight towards the back.
Can't give Chishu a kill.
Flashes up and over already. The swings are coming out on
Yeah.
top of rafters. It's too much to overcome. Finally, EDG taking these fights together with Smoggy, essentially leading the charge. Dropped down a single dips, but already the damage might have been done. Mine to the corner, close and personal. Still alive here, brings it to that 1 versus 1. Kang aim trained onto the angle base. The shot!
No.
Run down! Time needs to get onto it. The circle
No time.
already shrink.
Nice.
Yes, it did.
Let's go.
PRX.
Let's go. Oke, mati juga.
The operator as well. Absolute heartbreak for EDG, who looked like they had another round that they were going to put on the board. What a recovery from those PRX players tucked there towards the generator. The retake was working. Yes, Jishu had fallen, they didn't have access to the lockdown, but the trade-outs were working.
Di atas
That's one where
4
technically
gila.
Mindfree gets credit for the Red Bull clutch, but all he had to do was stay alive.
Yeah, he did. But he bought the time, right? Got the kills. But just enough. Just enough for the win.
Bang.
EDG are really struggling here. Kang.
Satu dong.
Let's grab himself the one before the trade comes through, seeking to punish that drone. The orbs are being picked up. The war machine is starting to chug here, if you are PRX. And the wall as well. Dropping a vibe wall to take these fights at opportune timings.
Wah, gila. Udah
Trying
semua
to even
kan.
it out with a bit of damage, stray shots, but not too lucky in that regard. Simon, though, let's connect one. Straight to the dome on Forsaken. He's got a lineup for this.
It's a big kill, but no weapons really retrieved.
What was
just
that
yet.
line up?
Has pulled out the ult stone. We're just talking
Oh.
about being earned. So PRX feeling that pressure. Like they have to combat some of this as well. And now that is the danger zone.
Tapi masih punya ulti sih.
Is he even going to get out?
Oh my goodness. Barely there.
Nice Davai.
But time will start to tick at this point onto the spike and Divide.
Surely no hope.
You got to think he wins this one. Swings it out. Chichu, nice goal, but
Let's
yeah.
go.
Very little chances there for Chichu to play with just because of that lockdown that was in play. 6-1 now, the scoreline. PRX really running away with his side of the icebox.
Simon does a good job there of even forcing out the lockdown, because otherwise that would have been an enormous tool to now contest within the rifles. But of course this is EDG's map pick and they're down 6-1. This is not a good way to begin. But EDG's defense side is not their best side. When I was watching them play this previously in China, they heavily relied on that Kangkang operator to get this side working. Their defensive setups were not the best. And Kangkang's only had it in his hand for 1 or 2 rounds max.
Yeah, barely being able to pull together enough funds to get it.
Just been crushing. The weight of the corporatocracy bearing down upon EDG.
That's a big word.
They've
Main
been
pelan, okay, main pelan.
the serfs tilling the fields. They can barely get enough money for their weapons.
I know that one.
Pelan-pelan ngagetin.
For that. Turret's going to get taken down in mid. It's Mind Freak. EDG now might have to pull a few more bodies here. Smoggy.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a high-low setup. The rest of the team as well. As soon as they catch that player, it's going to force out the res. Wall is up and a bound. And
mati lagi.
Sprayed away.
Good punish.
Yeah, snake bite. Able to collect that kill here.
Kangkang posted up over towards B. This pit to deny any kind of re-hit from PRX. Kangkang's going to keep pushing up, despite the fact they haven't heard anything. It's a risky spot.
Tapi ada orang
As
di situ.
PRX go for the mid to B instead, he's going to have a great position for any potential backstab or retake.
Tak kena bang.
This looks tough to navigate with 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, your options are hyper limited. I mean, you can try and pivot back into A, but they've still got the 3 players there, still got the pit. Through the gut though, straight through now, in through mid. Simon with the knife, up against the wall. Catches, cancels onto the drone. There's only 14 seconds left, and they don't have any semblance of map control. A lockdown again, forcing them out into the open. The easiest fights here, shooting fish in a barrel, and Simon, this newcomer to the squad, lighting them up.
Great closeout in this round for EDG. First round where it really feels like they're in control the entire time. That's one they desperately needed. Still not going to look to invest in the operator by the look of things. 5 rifles on the board. Kangkang didn't even really get pressured in this round. All came down to these fights over towards A. High-low setup.
Tapi
Working wonders.
gua nggak ulti sih. EDG
It makes
jadi
sense as well that EDG picked Icebox. I know they're down 6-2 and they're fighting to stay level in this. They're a long way off. But PRX did lose badly on this map the last 3 times they've played it. It did look a little weak for them. They don't look weak today.
No. Clearly an area of improvement. The orb tapped up forces something into the fight. Gonna dash to try and leap into the fray, maybe pounce onto a target or 2 here, but he's gonna get out. No damage done as well.
He's been given all the room in the world.
Yeah.
And the snakebite's been used before the shocks.
ya
Before the
nyampe
plant.
drone-nya.
No
Taking
break
A
on the
side.
wall.
Yeah, looking like a playground right now. Viper's pit. Drop down into the players here. EDG trying to go a bit more fast and loose here. Spam. It's going to be critical. Dash up and over. Onto the pipes. He's found it. Perfect accuracy. At least expecting it. Something though. He's right back at you with the blade storm here. Divide catching him. The 140 cleanup.
Kelihatan dong.
Chichu.
Kelihatan. Kayak expect dong di
7-2 now for
build.
PRX.
What a recovery in the round from something. It looked like EDG had done everything they needed to. When PRX pit like that, they can't control angles very well. They can't stop the retake from taking all of that space. EDG barrel their way all up to pipes, get 2 kills through the pit,
juga through the smoke.
and still can't win it in the 5v3.
Wih, nesting.
Shout out to Grandma.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Shout to Grandma.
Timer. Which means one thing, timeout, or tech force. Take your pick. For me, I'd like a timeout.
Yeah.
I would prefer a timeout.
It would
It's a
make
tech
it's a tech pause. There you go. You don't get your wish.
And we'll find out what the issue is momentarily. Maybe we can guess as well. Player shots. It's one of my favorite games to play.
Yeah. Guess who's got the tech issue? It's a tense game right there, even though it's 7-2 between these two squads. Do you believe that the history of these two orgs is going to continue onwards? I feel like a lot of the history seems to indicate that EDG struggle to get past these like big, heavy-hitting organizations that we have in Valorant. So people like Loud. We've all seen the Sadak versus Kangkang Pokeball memes.
Yeah.
And also PRX. I mean, the score is 4-1 historically between these two organizations.
Yeah.
These are two of the orgs, Loud and PRX, that have kind of stunted EDG as they've hit their ceiling on what they're able to achieve at previous events, especially throughout 2023.
This year too, I mean, Shanghai, it was PRX that sent them that early exit, where EDG just bombed out of playoffs, right? And now, looking to try and make it happen even in groups. It's like EDG, this coming into champs, they wanted that chance of redemption, I suppose, right? To try and build off and prove that they are still the top dog in China, still a good team. You've got to take them seriously, but they will be leaving this very disappointed, I think, if they exit out of groups here for the final event of the year, the culmination of your year.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a heavyweight matchup in terms of the legacy of these teams to be getting in a group stage, and it's an incredibly stacked group. I mean, when you consider that G2 was also in here, and they looked pretty phenomenal.
And I didn't really answer your question. I answered it with a question.
No, I don't mind that.
Which is very politician-like of me. Yeah, there's something about PRX, and partly I think some of it, I mean, I'm just reading into kind of the press conferences with the EDG players talking about one of the big difficulties, I think, is losing track of the game at those moments. And I think PRX are a team that when they press you with their high tempo explosiveness, you can get sucked into the fights a lot and struggle to slow it down and make sure that you're calm, orderly in the mid-rounding, which EDG have spoken about as a bit of a problem, which is why they've made roster changes, moves, switching stuff around to try and correct some of these problems for them, but they still highlight it, I think, as a weakness of them. And PRX are very good at exploiting teams like that, I think, but are not on the same page at those moments.
It's interesting, both of these teams at some point have had issues with the IGLing that's been going on.
Yeah.
PRX a lot earlier. PRX decided to get rid of their IGL and just have a democracy.
Yes.
We'll all kind of figure out who's got the rhythm of the game, and whoever's feeling the reads on their opponent and the right reads for the moment can step up and call. They're the exception, not the rule. It doesn't work for most teams. That's chaotic for most people. And EDG went in a different direction, kind of, by having their secondary caller, Nobody, pick up the majority of the IGLing and add in a new player to fill that gap and add a little more firepower to the roster.
Lama banget.
They certainly haven't gone for the democratized calling approach. Now, having said that, when you look at how teams thrive in the chaos, it is PRX that actually most of the time are coming up with really nice adjustments in those spots, despite their decentralized calling structure.
And we're back into it for round 10. Nearing the end of the first half of Icebox here. EDG not with a lot of money. Still some danger though. Oh, but he's just missed that timing. He's been caught. Lulled into a false sense of security.
Jatuhin diri.
By PRX, they waltz their way forwards into the A site now, using the drone to clear most of this way.
And it is an eco round, a half-buy round from EDG, but I think Nobody's given them a little too easy of an entrance there.
And down for Jing as well. Nothing to really push this one back. It looks like EDG might have wanted to take the fight towards it. They're already in through the back of the side. Flash is quite excellent. Cloudburst at the feet to try and defend as well, but it comes down to Chichu. 1v2 in the peak of the top of the wall. It's just so unorthodox, you don't expect it. That's what you get with PRX. They're always going to be trying to knock you off tilt.
Apa lagi Vita Mala.
I love that one. The wall is so useful. It's not just a wall to get kills on top of, but Jing showing there that you can set up multiple double faces and unexpected peak timings even on that. EDG, they're going to have rifles available. Still not going for that operator on Kangkang. It's round 11. They need this. Otherwise, they're basically out of their map pick already.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how good your attack side is. If you're starting this many rounds down. You need brilliance. And EDG need his last two. He's going to throw in that delayed knife, but it just gets broken from what that space is already granted. And given Hunter's Fury. Suppressed though. Pulled down the animation. That's an ult. It's going to be wasted from Forsaken. Simon using his null command to do the job. He's forced to pivot away, but no map control for PRX. It's a bit of a scurry and a scramble, if I do say so myself. They break the turret at least into mid. Poor Timmy.
Yeah, they're really threatening some kind of mid lurk right now, which should keep Kong cemented in mid. He's going to get aggressive, take a risk, go and re-clear this a little. But they're still not moving people away from the A site. They're expecting this to be a re-hit. They are dead wrong.
Smoggy must find some value into this position. Something rips his head off, man.
He's been playing the same angle since the pistol round. He's always on that spot. Bad wall from Jing has to be broken.
And Hunter's Fury forced out at least. Plan was an attempt to be stuck. Nobody. They'll let loose. Beams of lightning. Only the one tag though. Slow orbs through and out. There needs to be the defense. Kang is ahead of it though. We were talking about them catching these timings, trying to get quirky with it. Dash, active, Jing. Not that quirky. They're running straight into them. Seeing glimpses here. The ancient way that China likes to play. Drop down, nobody seems to deny this plan. Jing, the entire time being pushed to his limits with time. Going down now, but an extension for it. 2 versus 1 Devi. Try and shut this down. Best chance and a long while by EDG, and they grasp it firmly to at least get that third round.
Kenapa wallmu begitu,
What a devastating
Jing?
mistake that was for Jing to make. Putting his wall in such a bad spot. No one was nearby to be able to break it while it was in its weakened state, apart from his own team. So if he'd put it down properly, they would have had a much better post plan. Plan maybe would have been denied by the Hunter's Fury, but at least they would have been in a position where they could get back onto it without getting punished by Kong like that. Now what that dash was, that was too quirked up for me. That was bonkers. But EDG got one on the board. A light chuckle there as well, and a light heart attack. That's what you're going to get in this game, I think. Viewers included. We need to put one of those warnings on, like at the beginning of the show. Any photosynthesis or heart away.
Your heart's going to be racing here watching this. Nobody. Unusual with the angle. Will be pushed and postured away in through the back of the site now.
Battle.
5 players grouped up for PRX. This is it. Sort of the last hurrah, honestly, for the first half of Icebox. Dash up and over something. Again, he's so unusual and unorthodox in terms of his position that he does like to play it. So on this A side, a lockdown though from EDG. Most of these PRX players out. I believe they'll be able to escape detainment.
And now the re-hit. PRX love to go for these. EDG was expecting it in the previous round and they were wrong. Do they stick to their guns here? They have 4 defending the A side.
They're willing to fight over this one, tooth and nail, as the curtain drops. Bodies will fall and topple. Forsaken being one of them. Rez online though. Trying to get these equal trades out, and somehow it's PRX who have found his advantage. Into the round, Devi leaves himself as a piece of paper. Smoggy on the high ground, drops down 6 HP. Not enough to survive. And Chichu alongside him will be forced to spectate. Kang in a 1v2. He's caught the time behind them, but still guns are trained on this spot. And position Forsaken. First shot accuracy is there.
Nice.
9-3 is where we stand.
Forsaken has been playing such a good game. He's 15-7. He's been getting active and involved in so many of these fights. Able to play a little more aggressively than you'd expect perhaps for somebody playing Sova, but also more aggro than he gets on a lot of his flex rolls. EDG are in trouble here.
They certainly are. Barely been time for even a breather, but we will get some time as well, the teams to discuss heading into the next half. We're going to set it down to the floor for a nice little interview.
Apakah bakal jadi curse match?
Hello guys, I'm standing here with EDG's Gia from their League of Legends team, also 2021 League of Legends World Champion, and Luna to help with our translation, of course. LPL의 슈퍼스타죠. 그리고 2021 월드 우승 선수인 EDG의 지혜재 선수 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 여기서 보니까 색다른데 혹시 좀 발로란트는 하시는지부터 물어보고 싶어요. Now, you know, it's a pleasant surprise seeing you here watching the Valorant matchup. So, do you play Valorant yourself?
其实很高兴在这里看到你们，也来看比赛。那你自己平时会玩无畏契约吗？
自己偶尔放假的时候会去玩。
Of course, at off days.
Okay. 쉴 때는 한다고 하는데 그러면 랭크랑 좀 주체는 뭔지도 물어보도록 할게요. So, you know, what's his rank? What does he play? Tell me more.
能不能跟我们聊聊更多，比如说你的段位啊，平时玩什么英雄呢？
段位自己玩的比较菜吧，就是黄金水平。然后自己喜欢的英雄是瑞娜。
I mean, I'm a gold. I mean, and my favorite agent is Rina.
골드고 좀 주템은 레이나라고 얘기를 하는데요. 그리고 지혜재 선수 아무래도 e스포츠 선수 생활을 하면서 좀 이렇게 타이트하고 굉장히 리스크가 큰 경기들을 많이 치렀어야 할 것 같은데 지금 경기를 하고 있는 EDG 선수들에게 해주고 싶은 말이 있는지도 물어보도록 하겠습니다. You know, you've probably been through a lot of stressful situations where stakes are high. So is there anything you would like to tell the EDG players right now?
其实你也是经历过非常多很多紧张啊、激烈的比赛的嘛，那你有什么话想要跟 EDG 的选手说呢？
就在台下看他们比赛还是蛮紧张的，对，并且发现今天他们对手实力非常强，所以就希望他们能够加油，然后打好自己的。
Actually, I'm really nervous. You know, just watching them and today their opponent is really strong. So hope they can win.
강팀을 상대하기도 하고 지금 보는 것만으로도 이렇게 떨리는데 잘 경기를 치렀으면 좋겠다고 얘기했습니다. 이렇게 지혜재 선수 만나봤습니다. Thank you, 지혜재.
Gold in Valorant equals world champion in League. There you go. That's how those skill disparities compare. Yeah. Imagine how good these guys could be.
I know. Be sweeping the floor with multiple Riot titles.
No, at the same time though, you don't expect that Gold Reigner in your games to be a world champion in esport, do you?
No, I feel like that's where the Smurfing allegations might come out as well.
But all right, EDG, dire straits for this Chinese team.
It really is. It's a pistol round that, yep, I feel like, once more, broken record when I say it, but it needs to be a must-win because it's their map pick. Sunset's next. PRX have managed to squeak that one through. In the map pool, one of their best maps.
Absolutely, they're 100% their best map. They're one of the best teams in the world on Sunset. Super consistent. And this is EDG's map pick. However, on the pistol, EDG have been waiting outside B just for a moment like this, where PRX have that false sense of security and pull people away from the defense. Something, however, returns to the fray.
Yeah. They're all grouped up, ready for the fight as well. Once more, Wall's going to be dropping, but heads rolling.
Yeah.
The EDG, they're going to be happy with it. Something seeks to equalize, only gets the one, but still plays for his life. Buying time for the rest of the team, and the rotations are bound here for PRX already. Back into the fight, nobody with a plan needs to be defended. Let's get it off, and Smoggy, who's the casualty, something still there. Kicking, getting active, spraying away. With just a few Sheriff bullets, all it takes. Teammates alongside him. EDG have to sail their way through here with a little bit of discipline, underhanded with the flash as well, but it's being punished in kind. Devi, it's got him penned in. Simon, there's only so much one man can do.
Nice.
It's not enough at all. That's their 10th round. That's a pistol round. Momentum is entirely in the hands now of PRX.
And that's also a recovery from a 3v5 situation. Quickly turned into a 3v4, must admit, but EDG should have been in control of that one. Their pistol round strategy, their idea actually worked. But you can see it on the frustration, the faces of Muggle and Haodong. This map, it's a blowout at this point. EDG don't even have enough money to be able to force. They're looking like they're going to get absolutely rinsed, smoked, destroyed on their map pick. And whoever loses here and gets grouped in champions, it is going to be such bitter, bitter disappointment for their year.
Yeah.
No.
An attempt, maybe to bring down Mindfreak, maybe crack open the B side, but gonna retreat back to the corner. Util posturing them away. EDG need a miracle, need an eco win. Jing's up and over on top of the wall, seeking these angles, Forsaken with the swing. The plan was not held down. Surrounded, escapes EDG once more.
Perfect.
Fallen to pieces before their very eyes, and you mentioned that disappointment. For EDG, it's definitely going to be palpable. It's a squad that just been trying to exceed expectations that fans levy against them, expectations that them, expecting, I suppose, of themselves.
Absolutely.
Bang, jangan tidur, Bang.
Was looking to break that glass ceiling for China. They were fighting to break through, to take down big squads, make runs like Tokyo over and again. And just like PRX, they've been overtaken at the moment within their region. PRX are no longer the team to associate with Pacific as that big team. Gen.G took that away from them and then have waltzed out of this tournament. But EDG already, I mean, Trace, for example, who EDG destroyed in China in their upper bracket finals. Destroyed them, didn't look close. Trace, out of their group, #1 seed, straight to playoffs. EDG, they're 8 rounds down on their map pick, heading into Sunset, where PRX have looked immaculate. There's a serious sense that it might be too much already.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. There hasn't been upset potential, I think, on maps where we expected one outcome, got another. We've even seen it earlier today, I would argue, as well.
That's super true. But again, the reason I'm talking about this is because PRX are on a 12-map win streak on Sunset.
I mean, form is hitting, the players are hitting.
Can EDG maybe do it? They're good on Ascent. It's possible. But if you're getting this kind of a result on Icebox, I wouldn't be confident. Maybe the players will think otherwise after they take the break at the end of this map. But it doesn't look like that's going to be a long time off. They are speed running towards it right now. Taking a timeout here again before you even get to the bonus round. They just had a conversation with their coaching staff 2 rounds ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's purely going to be either just an idea to get a round on the board or bring the morale back up. Which, like you said, I mean, they spoke to them 2 rounds ago.
They're also heading into the maw.
This is PRX with a stack ready to receive. Open arms! 2 shots, all it takes. The Outlaw in hand, something has dropped the star player of EDG. In that head-to-head clash and battle, it's all been something. Dart. Shot broken away. Jing has not revealed his position at all in the slightest, but potentially played right back in from all the sound cues. Noise made. Mindfreak ripping their hopes and dreams up. And tearing them apart and tearing them asunder. It's 12 for PRX. One more step. All they have to take to seal up the map.
They're looking sharp today. The coordination's there. The players are firing. And now they're confident as well. So they're taking liberties. You see the way that something's playing. Dashing forward inside of his cloudburst, willing everybody else on his team forward to play off him. I think that's a noise the EDG fans are making as well.
Yeah.
Just a...
It's me when I spot a spider in the bathroom. just a squeak. Any sense of masculinity out the window, if I had it already, but... Here it is, PRX. Something is lighting him up, man. And he's sharp, he's locked in, you can tell, man. The way he is snapping to these angles, snapping to the util. And a deep push from PRX shows all the confidence in the world. They've already taken B main control. They are putting the squeeze on EDG. They're looking to end this entire map here and now. Hunter's Fury pushes them through. It's straight up the gut, in through mid. So much uncertainty, you cannot stand your ground. 13-3. It's domination. It's a sweep and a flawless finish for Icebox.
PRX absolutely crushed EDG in front of their home crowd at Shanghai. And it looks like that 4-1 record is just going to continue. That was domination.
And a scary, scary PRX heading in to that second map of Sunset. What hope do EDG even have?
Merah anjing.
gives you wings.
Kok merah? Halo IndiHome. Frame drop anjir. Man, it's a big freaking derby. What? Iya.
Fantastic start that was for PRX. I'm now joined by their head coach, Alex. I know your players don't like to be overconfident. They're not the kind of people to say, like, we've got this, we're 100% going to win, we can bring the trophy home. But how is it they're able to pull off that performance? And surely, if you carry on playing like that, Alex, it's time, right, to be confident about this tournament?
I mean, we're going to try, but how do I put it? I think, yeah, we have to clear this game first. We need our lifeline back. You know, we wanna make sure that we go into some kind of upper bracket where we can like mess around a bit. We just taking one step at a time.
And you happy with that performance?
Yeah, of course. I'm delighted. I thought it would be a closer game for sure.
All right, best of luck on map 2 and hope you close this out.
So did we. So did we, Coach Alex. Honestly, I was expecting EDG to come out of the gate swinging over here, but PRX just shutting it down. Let's actually dive right into this and talk about a Verizon high-speed moment. This one is going to be going to PRX over at round 9. You had something in Mind Freak, just putting together a series of kills, and wow, unreal stuff.
And they're the guys to close this out, but I feel like this was indicative of so many rounds this game. PRX had a simple game plan. A lot of A hits, pop down the sage wall, get into a post-plant position, and I feel like this was defined by a lot of EDG mistakes on the fundamentals on the retakes and PRX individuals taking every opportunity given to them.
When I was watching this game, it almost felt like EDG didn't even have their headsets on in order to communicate with each other. There were so many instances where they were in the same vicinity as each other, but they didn't kind of move together, peek together. And a lot of the situations came down to, like, even if they would get some kills, it was off the back of an individual. There's no capitalization, there was no trade potential, and I lost track of how many times Chichu was in a 1v1 or a 1v2. It had to have been at least 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. And most of those ended up going the way of PRX. I think it was mostly those A anchors as well, where you'd see players flooding in to try and help that A anchor out, and then the way the players would come back in, it would be like swinging after the anchor player had died, then going one by one. So many mistakes from EDG, but I mean, credit to PRX. They had a pretty simple game plan with this composition. They executed on it well, and they didn't start slow, crucially, which has been a bit of a trouble for them as of late.
The tried and tested go A, like 12 rounds in a row, basically, from 2020, as soon as Icebox got released, is still in full force here. And one of the worrying things is that we talked about how PRX had these slow starts in these other 2 series that they had, and here they're coming out swinging. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're singing,
apparently.
Or what? You know,
I think it was a beautiful song, personally.
Yeah, honestly, Voice of an Angel. And when we see this, now the question is, wow, okay, even if EDG can mentally reset to bounce back in this, is PRX feeling so confident right now that they're able to just continue this momentum into the next game? Or are they going to get a little bit complacent, a little overconfident, and start, you know, giving up some of these situations? This is basically, is this the mental coming in? We briefly touched on that.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I mean, it could be EDG has only beaten this team once before, and what has to be fresh in their memory is that 0-2 loss at Shanghai, losing in front of their home crowd, getting eliminated there. If things keep up the way they're going, it's looking like EDG might befall the same exact fate to end their year, which would be a real tragedy for these guys.
Yeah, it absolutely would be. I know everyone wants to see this matchup go the distance, but does EDG have it in them? Let's go ahead and see what's going on over at the EDG campus. We have Muggle standing by with Yinsu.
I have Coach Muggle here from EDG with me and Luna to do some translations ahead of map 2. Now, Sunset is a map you probably could have predicted. PRX, they love to play this map. So what kind of preparation did you make against them coming into this?
其实之前可能能预想到 PRX 他们会玩日落之城这张图，因为他们就很喜欢玩嘛，打得也很好。那你们之前有做过什么准备吗？为了今天这张图？
我们也是预想到他们会选这张地图，然后就是针对他们之前的习性，我们有我们的调整。然后，但是我觉得他们打的我们每一次都会跟别的队伍不一样，所以我们觉得，比起这个可能更重要的是临场的调整。
I think we have already predicted that, but you know, target on their hobbies on that map. But we also feel that they always change their strategy when they faced against us. So we maybe just deal with our instinct reaction.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much, Luna, and best of luck, Muggle, on map 2.
Well, interesting that he says, you know, they changed their strategy because, honestly, they just kind of hit A bunch of times. So, I don't know. That makes me a little concerned a bit still going into Sunset.
I mean, Sunset, you can reset everything and change whatever didn't work on that first map. You can be like, well, you know, this is what we kind of had in mind, and now let's throw that out the window and go back to what worked before.
The thing is, PRX might just hit A lot. Again, with this comp, this A comp is also very exec heavy. They have a very similar game plan on their attack, but their defense is a lot more defined by the set retakes. They have a ton of initiator utility with the breach and the gecko, and that wall is such a powerful tool to block up the plant while you have slow orbs in the smokes. It's really brutal to play against.
A lot's going to come down to Simon's KO and just making sure that the timing of his knife and his ultimates are going to be really good to disrupt how this goes in. So you trade out that initial set. PRX is using that slow and the smoke to start moving the site, wall to defuse. Okay, stall them out with a paranoia and then stall them with a knife on top of that. That's has to be on point.
EDG has always been the team synonymous with their region who has found the heights for China in the past. Now Trace has gotten their upset, they've made their way into the playoffs, and against an old foe after getting stomped on map 1. If EDG can't bounce back here, it might be the end of an era for this team. Their year would end with another disappointment.
Couldn't agree more, Mimi. EDG needs to wake up. Can they do it on Sunset? Let's go ahead and send it back to your casters, Brennan Sideshow, for the call.
Yeah, it's a mountain that they're going to have to climb, isn't it, here for PRX? When they're looking like they're in this kind of form, they're a scary scary team, and they have that tendency, I think, to evolve over the course of tournaments, you know, to become this team that nobody was really expecting to do much damage, but they just end up taking out the big names anyway. And here, on a map pick of Sunset for PRX, looking at the pistol round, it looks like they may be shoring themselves up for a little bit of aggression down mid too. Have to wait and see. Could also just be a hold for contact peak.
It could easily be a hold that then becomes a push to try to find the lurker as well. They've got multiple options here depending on the pacing. They know that EDG 4-1 all the time. Hard lurks.
Quadruple high-low. Not getting past that. As soon as they see the cam as well, now start moving together. As I said earlier, there's nothing scarier than PRX when they're a hive mind. Chichu barely alive here. He's still being ran down here with a fault line. Still, there's that pressure applied to him. No bodies, though, chasing him. It's EDG recognizing that, and they're going to make sure that they take the space over towards this A site. Nobody has the spike, though. They can't even get themselves on to plant this one. And a fast fight once more. Into the fray. A skirmish taken. PRX raiding the day.
Bang. Dalam dikit bang, kasihan. Bang.
That's pretty perfect.
Dihabisin 4 orang,
Flush
cepet banget.
Chishu out, make sure that he can't have impact in the round, though he'll attempt to win the 1v4. But you got no chance in that kind of position. They push Chishu so far back, he will never get that timing to lurk behind them before PRX have initiated the retake. And even so, they fight the pre-take before the plant is even close. Like you said, it was on nobody, and he was bringing it in way later than the rest of the team. That is a beautiful pistol to run against a team that likes to 4-1 all the time.
Gila.
And you look at this map, I know as the agents were being selected there and we were going into Sunset, everyone could see the stats, the recent stats anyway, of EDG being on a 3-map win streak on Sunset. But the one right before that, they lost to PRX in Shanghai, 6-13. And that was what forced EDG to make the shift over to playing the Team Heretics comp.
EDG might just be stunted and stopped in their tracks once more. This tournament here in Champs. Fight to be taken. It's a double flash and a swing. Through and out here with a util. Doors open up wide. And players dropped in place. PRX 3 do survive into it, so to be able to get themselves a nice and healthy bonus.
Yeah, not bad by any means. EDG, even if they get into post-plant positions, are going to have to be playing aggressive. You just can't fall back into those standard busted post-plant spots when the defending team is running a wall that can block you off, and then Wingman that hops on, and then they all push forwards, apart from the diffuser. It's really difficult. EDG are going to have to be pushing in post-plant, setting up aggressively, crossfires on sites. It's tough. It's so tough playing against PRX on this map, as their last 12 wins in a row should indicate.
Sunburn, judge in hand. Doubled up. I feel like there's so much danger just drifting over towards this A site. The cam's removed. PRX do not shy away from a fight. But the slow play by EDG.
Yeah, jangan kena timing dong nih.
From this, Smoggy was jiggling it. Barely a shoulder peeking out, but now head's turned away.
No.
Just barely missing it. Forsaken's already rattled off the shot. Chichu, who was there? Forsaken definitely overstaying himself, but slow orbs layered down through B main. EDG still with a minute of time to play, work with. They can take their time with this one.
Masih bisa ambil vandal.
The longer they do it, the more risks that PRX themselves are going to take. Devi's getting a pretty good idea right now that EDG are still locked into place towards the V site.
Something's just holding with the judge on the other side of the map. Mind Freak not cleared.
Yep, steadies his hand as well. Just leaves it fully open towards the back of the site. Just gives that one up because he's not being cleared. And Patience fully paying off. Potentially there. This guy holds it down.
Nice, dapat 2.
With the bulldog, squirrels it away and just grabs 2 kills before he's eventually traded down, and a chance. It's a life into the round here for PRX. Dizzy up and over through the window, but no connection, no acknowledgement. Devi is there. Lovely movement from Kang Kang. Sidesteps the bullets. Ensures that he's favorited in it. It's exactly what something is not with this gun in his hands.
I think the gun differential has made a big difference in this round. Something's kind of stuck. don't really want to be saving the judge either. I think it's kind of similar with Mind Freak. I think if he hadn't had a Bulldog, there's a serious chance he could have gotten 3 there rather than 2 in that kind of position.
Nice.
Oh, more damage done.
And a rifle, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice little surprise.
Good economic impact there from PRX, but a round on the board fairly early on. Already almost as many as they got in the entirety of Icebox. They'll be hoping for an extraordinarily different result here.
Duit.
That's worrying.
Ini Simon nggak mati loh.
None of them thought at all. But the thing is, once the first
Wah.
the others just don't even.
Kalau yang pertama mati masih bisa dapat 3 itu.
Exactly, and also, I mean,
it would have been
fired
clear
earlier.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Devi. He's got the operator in his hands.
Of course he does.
There's a lot of players that might be facing him here. Tripled up, tagged up by the knife.
Well, if I tagged Devi, I wouldn't expect an op. Maybe for something. If I tagged the Gecko, I might be thinking op.
Push back here over towards A main, so Jing's got that showstopper now into this round.
Right here.
It's got to be clean from EDG.
Yeah, they really need this. Credits on Kong, Nobody, and Smuggle. All really low. I guess Kong could scrap something together with the ult that he's got online, but it would not be pretty. The showstopper's quickly making its way over to B, responding to that drone, picking up a little bit of a potential lurk play through mid. Jing is here, and this is where the spikes go in.
Yeah, I was a bit worried as well. Devi was holding down towards the B side when the drone was used prior, but knife towards the back stuff as well. Here's a showstopper, an instant response.
No.
Flashed up though, Jing. He's blind as a bat. Had to let loose there with the ult. No casualties, a slight pause being caught here by EDG, but honestly, might just end up falling anyway. Shots missed. EDG, the feed is filled up with red. Making sure to grasp these chances. Jing still to slip his way in through the back.
Nice.
Sharp as anything. Precision is on display, and time now against EDG. It was looking like them to take this one. Oh my god, Baxter just opened up to these players. Jing working his way around, and G2 covers.
Bizarre, some of the moments in that round. Really bizarre. I do like the call from EDG to go for a re-hit. As soon as the showstopper was baited out by that high flash and did not catch onto Kong, they had the route back through. Forsaken, I think he just didn't hear Chichu barreling back towards him, throwing cages at his back and all sorts.
I mean, in the chaos of the situation.
If Forsaken had just taken a breath there and turned back around to deal with the lurker, maybe that's a different round, but EDG will be super happy to get that one on board. Big eco swing round going the way of the Chinese org.
PRX looking to try and take this round with a bit of proactivity on their half pipe. Vacuum up the orb, see if they can get a cheeky kill. They show presence, they back away now looking for the stack into mid, and I think the signs of a really great team at events is when they're trying to really extract every efficiency out of even half-by rounds. Forsaken with the peak will be punished. He was trying to grab that information. The rest of his team. So an open sight here for EDG.
Forsaken not using his Aftershock to break the trip over towards A main, so PRX keep walking down mid and taking some tiles control, but they can never flank in the retake, because that trip's always going to give it away. They might try it at some point in this half, but it will be watched.
No.
Oh, that's lovely control.
Menyala Kang.
Holding the line towards the back of the site, ensuring that nobody can cross past that boundary.
God.
Even hunt a few more players
Nice.
down.
Nice.
Hello. Giving up guns.
Yeah, this kind of damage is not great for EDG. This should have been their round to get the economy blooming.
Dapat 2 vandal.
They'll still take the round, of course.
Nice.
Be happy with the rifles.
And it's not too much damage. EDG players can still buy. It's not a big issue. So they take the lead. Exactly what EDG were looking for early on here. Of course, they'd have loved the pistol round as well. But in terms of getting themselves cemented, shaking off all of the horrors of Icebox and leaving it like a bad dream behind them in the past, They've now secured as many rounds as they did in the entirety of that map one.
Wah, gila.
And the players, I think you can see there from Kankang's perspective, they're looking fairly sharp themselves.
Yeah, they bounced back nicely.
Yeah, he was just farming the ecos there. He's got to do that with rifles online as well.
That's the round we're going to be watching here. Round 6. With the economy equalised a little bit. Kang is stepping up to that challenge. Divide. Sounds about there. He had Mindfreak by his side, and that's a no command going into the B split. This is putting the squeeze on the Mindfreak. Look at him head on a swivel. Doesn't know really which way to look, but still tucked to the corner. Could be trying to strike straight back, but no. EDG got that discipline and awareness. Was there for them. Door busted and broken down, but Choo-Choo's there holding the cross. Making sure to chop up these angles. Nades rebounding to try and clear the way for PRX. For them, but it will be another round for EDG.
Sharp shooting from EDG, but badly synced up in terms of how they were fighting into market. Something way ahead of Jing and Forsaken, miles behind. The spacing could not have been poorer. So EDG gifted with a slightly easier cleanup, but the open was lovely. They can't do that all the time, of course. The null command, massive ultimate. But utilize well to keep this lead going and to break the economy of PRX, unless they choose to go to force around this saved Vandal, but I'm not so sure it's going to be saved.
I mean, fault line to slow them.
Whoa! How's he got out of that?
That's ridiculous. Houdini level plays.
What
He's been
the
looking for something. That was
fuck?
the some swing to save. What's going on there? The save swing.
They might be able to buy up around that one.
They absolutely can buy up now. They had 2 players that could comfortably buy, and then another 2 that were scrapping it together, plus that saved weapon.
Mindfreak mau jagain dari di main.
Off the back of that round.
Dari mid 4 orang.
How was Forsaken got such a powerful aura that they don't even shoot at him?
I don't know.
I need to get that in my rank games.
They just weren't expecting him there, I'm not too sure. But this is 4 in a row now for EDG to get us back on track here with the game at hand. And we said, you know, we're going to need to see that strong opening from EDG themselves on a map that we were kind of just raring to go to sing the praises of PRX on as a potential slam dunk 2-0 finish here. But they are showing those signs of life. They've shown that they will pick themselves back up when they get knocked down.
A really important asset to have.
G semua G is for God.
And what does the second G stand for?
The God.
The first, oh, it's Goat Goat.
It's Goat Goat, yeah.
Smo Goat Goaty.
Of course.
Lovely. Rolls off the tongue.
Yep.
Yeah, PRX are in a bit of a tough spot here. They haven't been able to play their game, really. They've been looking to try to set up these big retake scenarios where EDG are in more passive spots. And they've been looking to try to take fights through mid. But ever since the pistol round, Jishu's been extremely cautious.
Yeah.
He hasn't been taking very much of that space in mid, unless the whole team is splitting.
EDG showing really good signs that they understand how to control the tempo. They're not getting sucked into the fights.
Yeah, and they're also showing, I think, good awareness of how PRX wants to take this map and denying it from them.
PRX are set up with a trap play off of Jing's contact. It's just jiggling.
I don't like this, though. It's very, very difficult to follow up on any of these kind of trap plays unless you have a showstopper. It's just...
They want to go for it anyway. Paranoia does connect. But again, like you said, it's very difficult to follow up on any of this unless nobody, Chichu, are willing to give them the fight for it with a smoke.
At the same time, you're at least still closing off B main. So, you know, you're putting another stall into it for the attacking team. But EDG were not fully committed to B. They were split. And they feed that information over to the other side of the map and quickly take elbow.
Yeah. It's the benefit of running that slow default here. Something that is... There's no way. This is...
Thing. Nice thing.
There's no saving him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over this one, they don't want to give up this territory, and with the doubled up discipline, showstopper round and a bound. That's a kill. Claim for Jing. Anyone's game here, at least it should have been looking like it, but PRX, they just swarm into the site.
It's an absurd spot to go for a thrash, especially considering you're playing against a Neon who could just run you down at any moment. Got the thrash timing perfect, didn't get the follow-up, team bailed him out. And crucially, another point to note, while we were talking about that fight over B main, that allowed Jing to be able to pick up the ult orb and get the showstopper online. So he was one away from it at the start of the round. I was talking about the fact I don't really like that trap play because it very rarely results in a kill unless you have the ult. But he used it to get the ult, to use that beam really importantly to be able to come in here and help out something. 2 massive ultimates used though, and Paper X still trail by 1.
We couldn't kill him.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Just disbelief. I mean, I was gobsmacked.
Something, of course, is worried that there's going to be other people holding him in that spot. That's why he didn't go for a wide swing. Here's a wide swing.
Yeah, we're not slowing down, are we? That's Divide. Head clean off the shoulders of Kang. Jing from the side as well.
Dude.
And a slow orb drop down on top of the wall.
Buset.
The danger zone for EDG. Hold a candle to it.
And this is one of the first times where they've got the read perfect on where EDG were going to fight. They had so many players there. They 4-stacked the site that EDG decided to go towards. It just looks like you're going into a blender.
Yeah, and I don't know why EDG rushed into trying to take that fight through A main precisely. They've been playing these slow defaults and they've been working out a lot.
They have, yeah. They haven't really been going for that fast elbow control. At the same time, when there's that many Paper X players reading the play, I think even they're going for a slow approach. As long as they went A, Paper X were ready. It was like man versus combine harvester.
What the
Very
fuck?
unfair.
They're just chewed to pieces.
Oh.
TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this one before. I remember EG
TikTok bol. Emang boleh.
They actually Omen teleported on top of the box to
Jangan timing. Ya, kena timing. Kena timing. Dia lagi nengok yang lain. Bisa di revive.
The res is online though, so Divide will quickly be able to offset any of the disadvantages that came about from that.
But now, because of the TikTok wall, Divide doesn't have it for the retake. So if EDG get the plant.
They're going in for it. Still, Forsaken was incredibly committed. Jing on top, on high ground, on throne.
Oh.
Will be toppled.
You can plant and play a B main post plant here. Normally you have to play aggressive, but with that wall gone, you can back up. And that's a huge advantage for EDG.
Now happily play for that one. Nobody has also got that ult in his back pocket with a Hunter's Fury. It's an extra layer of safety.
Udah ulti lagi si Nabadi.
Ensure that he doesn't miss any second of it. A tap. There's the ult. Paranoia from Smoggy. Meant to supplement here. Mindfreak out into the open arms. Time start to run short. Mindfreak trying to hold this line as well, ensuring that they can try and get this defuse online. Something with the wingman broken. It's running away from them. Device leaping into the frame.
Dapat satu lagi. Nice.
Defended
Let's go.
What a fumble from EDG there. Paper X,
Battle
that's the
sits.
game they want to play. They're so practiced in those retake scenarios, but they didn't even have the Sage Wall to work with. You very, very rarely see multiple players in B main both desperately trying to slam the clip back into their gun. Ammunition to work with to spam.
There it is. Waiting for that. It's like we played a lab.
I'm not even sure what that was in reference to.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, maybe
possibly. It might be because of that.
What are they doing?
Things from prior rounds, but Paper X have been just winning the last 3, so
Gila.
got to assume it was something based on that. But that is, yeah, that's a round where EDG, I think, should have had their opportunity to play things their way.
Yeah.
Triple up, be able to force Paper X to go into them. I guess one of the problems was they didn't have their own smoke. Normally when you get these big 5v5 post plants happening over towards B, the retake smoke that Mindfreak threw there is not that powerful because you just smoke it off yourself. One of the rare maps where you smoke yourself off from being able to see the spike.
Just so you can get in and potentially fight B main.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how it works, but
Simon's one away from getting null command online. See whether they decide to fight heavy over B main to get that orb, because that's exactly where Paper X want to fight. It's an opportunity where they could try to run this trap play. But again, if Forsaken ults this, I'm not sure you can follow up that easily. Gonna go for a bit of aggro control. Remember that Paper X can occasionally go for like the wall on top of that box and, you know, peek into mid.
Yeah.
We've seen them do all sorts of weird stuff. So EDG have to be careful.
They do like to cook. Jing. Drones are broken. Kang expected the swing. It's too suspicious, I think, when a drone gets broken in that regard.
Yeah. Read like a book. An easy book, a young adult novel.
Easily digestible. What is going on with this all? Okay, rolling thunder.
These are the kind of plays These are the kind of plays I hate from PRX, though. That is just such a waste of an ultimate.
Smelling a timeout being called from PRX's side.
Which makes no sense because they've won 3 in a row.
But just to rein it in, get a bit of discipline back into the ranks. Forsaken. Got walkabouts here. Potential to be punished. No, now the reaction. EDG. Alongside it. Devi. Can hear these footsteps. Many circulating all around him. That's lovely adjustment of the rifle aim. Still, he's going to be paranoid. Up. Blinds it up. No noise cues. Not be able to follow up on this one, though, with a solo orbs. The defender still, he just turns away. Precisely the wrong moment in EDG. Making sure that they capitalize directly on top of that one. That's now down to that 2 versus 3. Mind Freak and Forsaken. Up onto this retake. Forsaken dropping. These are down to just Mind Freak. Spotted Simon's positioning.
That's master. No.
Into the corner. Stray bullets from nobody. It's precarious and now unwinnable. As I say that, he's found himself a corridor window, but peeking the smoke. Nobody just hugging tight to the corner.
A little sloppy there from PRX. Taking their foot off the gas maybe slightly, or just not prioritizing perhaps the big tools that they had to be able to win the round.
That's an insane play with the roller.
Yeah, they wanted B main info. I guess they thought that there were going to be some EDG players over there. And Devi did a decent job at staying alive in elbow. He just got caught at the final moment. A couple of duels got the way of EDG, and they're looking nice for it. We see the Gecko operator picked up over towards B main. And this is an area of the map PRX have put huge value on.
And he's hit it.
Itu dia
Nails the
something.
shot. Nobody's going to be dropping straight to the floor. Jingdo exploration not set up by any form of utility.
Expecting EDG to be running those 4-1 defaults that I'm talking about. Actually, EDG have been more spread than usual today.
Yeah, a little 2-3s. And a slower play of EDG. Said earlier, it's what got them that string of 4 rounds prior. Paranoia now as they bide their time, wait it out, now send it forwards with the war, but Forsaken wanted to try and play himself inside of this. What an adjustment by Kang. Snaps it 90 degrees to the side, and now huge player advantage.
Mind Freak teleported past the first trip. He would be hurt if he went for it here.
Yeah, he would, definitely. Something's got to pray that somebody will just walk into his sight line, crosshair placement. Trip's going to be broken off of that noise cue. The call hasn't been made. Wait, there's a back to these players. Back to back. Mind Freak. He finds it finally with the kill. Now there's a Paranoia. An attempt to play them back in, but a flash in kind. EDG stolen out. These PRX players just fall long enough, and Kang squares up. Once more to that challenge. That's 3 in a round for him. Something Seoul job now just to try and save on to this operator.
And he's going to be keeping it into round 12.
Good.
Is he? Oh. Yeah, he's just survived with it. EDG find another round, take the lead again, up 6-5. But I'm reminded of what Steele was talking about on the desk of looking like there were comms issues there for EDG. As soon as that trip was broken, G2 should be aware there's somebody on the flank. And yet, completely confused, didn't relay that over to...
Kang menyala.
Bizarre interaction. PRX's economy, though, is not looking good here for the final round.
Final round of this first half of Sunset. That's an open B site. Prime for the taking for EDG. The knife hasn't seen much. The dart even better. Doesn't get broken, so they know that the front section of B is entirely theirs. I'll send in the usual utility just in case.
Jing's got that showstopper online.
That's going to have to be the ticket, I think, for a chance of PRX winning this round. That and a share of fame.
He's really been trying to farm these orbs, and EDG have to play aggro, have to play on site.
They're straight up in through market. It's an aftershock and a slow orb as well. Kang is completely separated, isolated still, traded out. Head just peeking over G2. He's still alive here for the moment. Tethered himself into the corner of the site with the operator and a Something is a thrash earned up now to Fish. Sent flying forwards to Taman, then it should be a kill, collected indeed. It is!
Ooh,
and any defense gets dismantled.
Not bad, not
When
bad.
you're watching what happened on Icebox, a 13-3 map, you wouldn't have expected both teams to be dead even here, but that's exactly what's happened. EDG have woken up, PRX finding their moments to respond. We couldn't be more level at the half.
Yeah, it's just been unreal so far, living up to the expectations that we set on this matchup between two of these orgs that have so much damn history.
Yeah, we've. Nice half, nice half.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Me every time I watch PRX berkeringat, gak ngeri.
I want to say more than signs of life, I think, for EDG, because it takes a lot of mental resilience to bring yourself back after getting smacked around on the opening map. When your tournament life is in your hands, not just that, it's like the expectations of your entire year potentially could have crumbled on this map, but they are still alive and still kicking.
And you might be tuning in thinking, why were they hyping up PRX that much? Sure, 12 map win streak. You think PRX fell out a coconut tree? They exist in the context of all the map wins that came before them. The 12 map streak.
What is Blood waffling about?
They're on the attack side here. Their attack side looks deadly in a lot of these spots. Their execs onto site. The pistol's going to be vitally important.
Yeah.
Take flight. At least just for giving you momentum and starting to build up to massive ultimates on both sides of the map.
Nembak drone gak ada yang kena.
PRX. No one holding this A main avenue. It's not going to be pushed by Kankang, of course, with a one-way in his face. Just looking to hold it. Nobody getting some information. Spotting the players now. Smoke's going to be cutting out off the picture from that one angle, and now call is made. They want to try and make a play now to the B split. Wall to give them safe passage. Be any spam going away. Levi, I should say, even just trying to get cheeky himself. There's smokes to be played in and out of. Jing is way ahead of it. Stun layer down and a flash on top of it with the paranoia blinded up. Dart is there. This is chaos. This is anarchy. And EDG, they control it, at least for the time being. A player advances to be found. Device wrapping all the way from behind. The backs are turned. EDG have lost the plot and lost track of all these players. They don't know which way to take it. Devi has potentially worked on something 1v1.
No!
Not enough
No,
to do it,
38.
I called him the newcomer.
No, banyak yang
EDG squad, but he's done it again for them. He's been in these clutch scenarios over and over again.
When you're thinking about the way that PRX and EDG are going to battle against each other, these are the rounds you remember back to in their 5 matches previous. And this is what you imagine it's going to be like the entire time. It's just bonkers. EDG are going for a big retake, death balled up together, and PRX have got flanks on their flanks. looking around, how many shots were just into the back of people's heads there? Twisted and turned around, and yet EDG come out on top. Somehow able to control the chaos. Truly absurd.
Yeah, and a huge deal for EDG. A lot of teams will get lost in the mix of that, where PaperX normally thrive. They've managed to take this pistol round out.
That is not great.
Yeah, the only thing past that is, taking a pistol, you need to clean it up past this point, especially because Kang's just gone
down.
They also haven't retrieved that gun. Smoggy didn't feel comfortable enough going forwards there in case he was walking into the stack, so they've left that weapon on the floor. I'm not sure that Devi can necessarily know that. He hasn't re-peeked it, but he's calling the rest of PaperX over to take this fight. Spectre still down, like a treasure to be gathered.
Pack mentality here from PaperX. Paranoia is perfect though.
Wah, kena
EDG
semua.
have really make sure to pick and choose this timing.
Jangan satu-satu, Bang.
Nobody! Oh! The ace ripped
No
away,
ace,
but
no
listen,
ace.
Eco kills at the end of the day. Nobody. There's 2 away now from the ult.
Bagus
I
banget
did say it
sih.
needed to be cleaned up
Iya.
after that point. That
Flashnya,
was about
anjir.
as clean as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, if nobody had gotten the ace, he would only be 1 orb away from the ultimate. That's a really good ult from the defense side. So Smoggy doing a little bit of trolling, but that's okay.
All good.
Boom.
All good. They're going to be happy with that, I think.
Yeah, very happy. EDG are looking great here. They're also still going to have a decent economy heading into the next. Buying up 2 Bulldogs into this round. PaperX need this one. Like I said, it's been 12 in a row for them on Sunset. They easily beat EDG last time they played, but this time, Chinese team giving them more to worry about.
Trick just playing that safety net. Nobody's right through the smoke as well. Not expecting that timing. He's taken out 2 of them with just the Spectre in hand. He's working miracles over towards the B site and buying enough time for the rest of the team. What the hell is occurring here? Wingman up and over, something with the plan still tapping. Paranoia is flooding through an EDG. They want to take that fight. The skirmish is called for.
What is this? Dibalas.
Destroying PaperX, not giving them any respect on site. EDG are in as soon as the plant is tapped. Timeout called already by PaperX. Because, I mean, look how aggro they are. Dodging that first wave of utility and immediately running back in. And Alex is not happy about the way he's played that.
Immediate timeout.
Whereas things actually sound quite casual on the side of EDG. But if you compare map 1 to map 2, of course they would be. It's nowhere near as bad.
Driving seat. Could we bring it to that map 3 of Lotus? So far, so good. I mean, talking about these bonus round conversions, these pistol round wins, but on the back of it, you just get so much momentum after this point. I mean, EDG have knocked down the economy of PaperX. They're now going to be working down with those half buys, not just that as well. You know, you think about how important some of these ultimates are for the attacking side. They're going to have less opportunities to build them because of that.
If you want to talk about the ults for a sec, nobody's got
Itu
his
tadi
hunter
flashnya
fury.
samping
So
bukan
this
sih?
next round we're going into
Kena
is an
temen.
anti-eco for EDG. Then the next rifle round, they'll have the Hunter's Fury to work with.
Weird.
Then the one after that, they'll get to null command before Jin gets to Showstopper, which means that Jin can't really use that ult. So the fact that you get this snowball happening at the start of halves, it has ripple effects that happen all throughout the later rounds. It's not just the economy in the moment, not just the rounds you get on the board. Who gets to which ults first matters enormously. And at this point, EDG are massively in the driver's seat. It's going to take something special from PaperX. But they are no strangers to pulling out miracle moments.
Now they've got that
Bang.
potential always there. Ready and wanting. There's a punish. Kang. EDG, they heard that all being tapped, and it wasn't quite a tap, it was a full committal. That is quite an overextension potentially there from nobody, but he uses the drone to clear this through as well. Shock darts up and over, something peppered with the bullets, but still alive. Even reclaiming the rifle. I always get a little bit scared, I think, when you open up mistakes or give up plays and players like that, where Kang's just going down, handing over a weapon to a team like PaperX. And it's an open A site as a result of it.
Forsaken has not been getting that aggressive. I'm not sure he realizes they're playing a retake at the moment.
Can't use this yet.
If you work your way up a little deeper and you spot trips in certain positions, it can be a read. They're trying to fake A, re-hit B, but there's no one even on the A side to know they're faking.
Yeah, EDG here. Still want to try and hold their ground. Look at that, nobody. Ensures that there will be nobody crossing that main area.
No.
Most of the danger evaporates with those few kills. Now the rifle is still alive in Mindfreak's hands. Map control has been lost, but with only 17 seconds to do it, the time pressure is probably just going to be a little bit too much here for these players. Forsaken holding in case there is that peak.
Forsaken doesn't want to keep a sheriff.
No, and he will be
What
falling
about
anyway. 8 seconds here. Does Mindfreak even... You've got to commit to this. Taps. Okay. Just looking to do damage, take some guns out of their hands, maybe keep this rifle. One of his own, he doesn't.
No.
Not going to hurt him too much. Take a look at this shot from something. It's not bad. Kankan's facing there into 3 players though. Bit off a little more than he could chew in that round, but it did not hurt them. Up to 10 for EDG. They've had a blistering open to this defense half.
I like playing ammo.
PRX like to run a lot of fast rounds, and EDG have had the answer. Dial up the tempo themselves on the retakes.
Looking all the more likely that we end up heading over towards Lotus. Knife not broken. Simon gets the info. There's at least 2 players playing there as well. This is something just exploring mid, essentially alone. I mean, he is.
Trap play on A, by the way. Cam takes contact towards where Forsaken is positioned, and they previously had a paranoia set up. They've decided to abandon that. Cam gets broken, and now they're on their own. Dual re-clear through elbow. But PRX are not really putting good pressure on the A site. EDG are able to retake this spot fairly easily, give themselves good info. PRX are heavily favoring B. And EDG have had the read.
Oh, and a knife is good as well from Simon.
No.
It's going to pull players from EDG back over. And the smokes now going to be sent out here. This is Mindfreak. Rest of PRX trying to follow the cues.
Do they go for the Sova roll?
There's 40 seconds left here. Wingman with the plant. It's an unusual position for it as well. Just trying to play ahead of the Hunter's Fury, but the plan goes down without any problem. Still that backside control as well, but the Hunter's Fury try and play these players in EDG. They have that advantage once more with the players! PRX, they can't stand against it. They get extinguished as they're just trying to pull towards the back of the side. Something weaving in and out past this wall, but he's only one man. What can you do in this spot? Up and over with the Dizzy. Nobody's defusing. He knows he's got that safety net. His teammates holding. And hold they will. Safe hands from Chichu. 11th round now for EDG. Once more the money. It's going to be awkward for PRX. The losers bonus is definitely starting to accrue, but EDG, at this point, they are almost fated to go to that map 3.
EDG got a flurry of kills here when they were on the retake. Towards the back of Boba, PRX trying to force the fight. And EDG not going in as quickly as they had done in previous rounds, but pulling up just as easily.
I like ngamuk.
Nobody picks up the Odin as well, which is going to melt through that Sage wall. Something they could have gone for on Icebox, never opted into.
Fast play is called up. Thrash not seeing much in terms of the backside. Chewed up there by Trapfire.
No.
Wingman sent flying forwards here.
Oh no.
Bullets spraying and praying away. Not enough to push back that plan, but the res is online, so something's back into the fight. And into the skirmish. They're going to try and hold it down, but now retreating out back and away here. There's a flank timer from Forsaken potentially there, but he's miles away at that. And EDG already in position here. Primed.
First passive post plan from PRX.
Showstopper sent out into the hands of Jing.
Simon's
Satchel
dead.
At his feet. A tap from nobody.
Good,
and
nice.
the angle from Chichu won't be safe from that one. He was seeing if he could do some of that damage ahead of time. Still nobody committing onto this one, but Smokey might have just returned that favor. Back at it with the kills flying through. Forsaken by trying to buy time with the flank. Already there, out, but time. It worked against him again with that hourglass just running dry. So PRX get up to 7.
Bittersweet victory there for PRX. Their economy is going to be garbage coming out of this.
Yeah.
A tragic situation. The first time that they chose to play a passive post plan instead of trying to fight on site. And it worked. But then And Smoggy killed everybody and has ruined their economy heading into the next round. They're going to be coming
Gak
in
hit
with 2
loh sama
Guardians,
sekali
no
badan pun.
Boombot, no Mosh, only 1 slow, no Paranoia.
Let's go.
They're prioritizing the weaponry, but their util is really missing.
Trying to keep the morale up as well. Just hearing Jing towards the end there. Just again another rapid approach. This is Mind Freak. Just wandering. He's a nomad at this point. There's no one to play off of this one to jump spot. Oh, miscommunication again. It rears its head. And Mind Freak will rip them off. Chichu now has to take risks.
Let's
Knew he had to
go.
play the forward angle, just hoping that somebody would just walk into him from the main position. But at this point,
Nice entry, Mind Freak.
Sealed up and stolen this round away.
Kopi bang, anjing.
Is that the kind of issue that's just going to get PRX 1 round, though, and EDG quickly cover it? Or is that indicative of a larger problem that might allow PRX back in? This is a larger problem.
Yeah.
The fact that Smoggy is just killing everybody.
You have to keep these guns. I mean, the economy is just too good for EDG. You're not even doing economical damage at this point.
And also, you're only really getting 3K plus.
Ya ketahuan dah, weh.
Oh, Kang knows. Overdrive, wait. They can still make a play for this one. Smokes up.
No way.
No chance.
What a
Mind Freak.
throw.
He's got the spam and spray this one away. Defended. No way.
Nice. Tapi nggak ada duit.
There's no way. Just utter relief. A quick shake of the head. That would have been a devastating loss of epic proportions. Mind Freak opens, Mind Freak closes, everything in the middle was incredible trolling. That's technically a Red Bull clutch from Mind Freak. Should never have been. And I think the desk deserved that one. But look what it's done to the economy again. Double Guardians. At least this time they can pick up a bunch of util. But there's no flashes on Forsaken.
It's just scraps that you're working with if you're PRX.
So rough.
Pure scraps. And you're leaning on the individuality to bail you out once more. Deep mid push by EDG, all that information.
First time, no Sentinel.
Exactly. Not in a traditional sense.
No.
Mind Freak's back is wide open to the wall.
No.
The Rolling Thunder to clear out most of this side as well. This game of timings, but Mind Freak is not going to expect this one as well because, well, a flash, hold on. Forcing it out, and he does at least collect the one here. Forsaken, he's got to try and stem this bleeding. There's a cage up into his face with the bullets. Flying forwards here. Bits and pieces of lead. Suppression, though, across the board. No abilities to be playing with. Pure gunplay has to try and reign supreme and save the day for them, but there's that uncertainty in the step of the PRX players. Wall up from Devi. Simon will go down, at least post-mortem. It's the ult that just fades away. The player positioning from EDG, it should be known, should be noted, but they're putting a squeeze now entirely onto these players. Individuality will not save something, not out of that spot. Great movement from Chichu. The 12th round, tallied up, added to the total. EDG now, they can feel it. They're on the brink.
Match point.
A really nice call from EDG on a round where not all of them had full weaponry. And PRX struggled enormously to get into good post-plan positioning there. They're all in solo spots. That's allegedly a dizzy flash that catches onto Kangkang.
Oh my.
According to the assist, not that I saw it at all. But PRX were very slow, like I said, to transition into good post-plan spots there. They didn't play off device contact. They left him until last alive.
Mari kita lihat
Big
komen.
errors creeping into PRX's game. After winning 13-3 on map 1. It looked done, it looked dusted. And yet EDG rise from the ashes, still with a chance of going to playoffs.
That's what is at stakes here for both of the teams. I mean, of course, elimination. Saying it all day long, but to make playoffs.
Cage triggered.
Last team to do it at that. Into the B split.
Buset, ultinya di tengah-tengah.
the way and paves a path open through into market. Trips going to be tangled and Gorging, who's lit up there, I believe, potentially by some trips. And it's played off beautifully. EDG are right into it, and they want to try and shut this down immediately. Hunter's Fury, peek by Forsaken. There's the punish. Three left to stand. Insane mechanics, but it
Map
matters
3, wah anjir.
against the hand and steady aim of Kangkang.
Kangkang gila banget spray transfernya.
13-8. What a resounding flip compared to last time we saw these two teams clash on Sunset. In Shanghai, in front of a home crowd, EDG got beaten 6-13. And now they're here for revenge, breaking a 12-map streak from PRX.
And willing to take it to that map 3 as well. Their last chance, the Bastion, to even make it to the playoffs. It's still anyone's game, you gotta think as well, but my God, has it been explosive.
Gila. Ini apa lot? Apa sih map terakhir? Oh, ush. Jangan di post. Map 3 deh. Super power.
Welcome back, everyone. And, well, I have a question for all of you lovely people at home. Do you like some mud with your Valorant?
I love mud.
Because that's what we got in that last one. Holy smokes. Absolute shenanigans across the board. I mean, still, we're seeing just... I mean, honestly, I don't even know. Like, there were moments where, like, you know, you think, okay, there's a setup here. Oh, wait, never mind. There is no setup. Oh, well, there's going to be a... Oh, never mind. They're just circling around one another, flanking, reflanking. What a wild game that was.
It was a head-scratcher. I was looking at it, the first 2 rounds especially, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, you know what? PRX is probably going to close this out. And then EDG starts getting round after round, and then it's like going into these types of situations. This is getting onto round 9, I believe, where... Nope, this is not that one yet, but there's just like all sorts of things. Oh, this is it, actually. This is round 9. So basically, like, PRX is coming in for the retake, and, you know, they're putting pressure onto that main. They have 2 people covering and tapping the spike. But on the side of EDG, it's not really what we came to expect from them. We're having a Soba backing off to do the Hunter's Fury, and then like the Omen's in the corner by himself, and the KO's not right. You know, it's what's going on here. They're all playing so individualistic, like they didn't have their comms on, like the headset on, and I pointed this out before, but it really felt like that. There were other instances I think we'll get to as well, where it's just like, someone sees an enemy and we're just still like la la land, what is going on? And it was a very big head scratcher moment, because I thought for sure PRX was just going to steamroll through. Yeah. And then suddenly EDG is pulling it back. You're like, what's going on?
It looked that way. EDG, when they were getting in their post plants, the fundamentals were off. Cheechoo's lurks were so often coming once the team was already dead. It was so messy to start. But then the second half, it continued being muddy, muddy Valorant. But it was instead EDG coming out on top of so many of these moments, stepping up in the chaos. Players like Kong having big impact, and PRX, the team, making a lot of those same mistakes.
Something
with look at the way they're fighting into backside in this round. One player goes it first, then they're getting slowed on slow. One more player fights, and it's all individual.
Everyone just turning around, like one person's running backwards, one person's running forwards. They can't figure out who they want to push, and then EDG somehow narrowly comes out on top of that situation. But yeah, just piggybacking about that Chichu thing, there was a round 7 where EDG is going out aim with 3 people. You know, they're going out elbow onto this site, and it's just like Chichu just starts his B main walk, like starting to walk from T-spawn into main, right? Not even like walking onto the site, he's walking into the main choke point. Like, what is going on with those types of situations? He's got to be with the pack more. But speaking of second half, all the hits are going towards B, and that's where Chichu is, so he's involved in the game that way.
It's 5v5 again.
It's 5v5
and then that's
again,
all
yeah.
good for EDG. I mean, yeah, credit to nobody. Kong having some moments in that second half to keep this team in the game. And I mean, we talked about the possibility of a mental block, of them looking out of it after getting stomped on map number 1. But this is the game. No matter how muddy it is, no matter how many mistakes are made by both teams, in an elimination match like this, all that matters is getting that map win and keeping your mental in it for the final map. And it wasn't the cleanest, but that's what EDG did. They stay alive.
To quote Vin Diesel, whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning. And that's literally Lotus. This is where you got to put up or shut up. This is it. Right? And we're going to Lotus here, Steel. Give the folks a preview, maybe, of what we should be seeing potentially here.
Okay, if anything goes by what happened last map, although last map didn't follow the same, you know, logic from the round the map before.
Logic's out the window.
You have Omen, you have Clove, and you have Neon, probably, if the picks go the same way for the side of EDG. And the way that everyone's kind of individually just running around taking these duels, I think that could actually work in their favor again here. And PRX need to be able to reset after that last map. You would think that they had the momentum going forwards, and it's been stopped. How are they going to rebound? That was a question for EDG.
Yeah.
Now it's for PRX.
Yeah, this smoke swamp is really good on your attack side. It's segmenting your fights into very discrete areas. Instead of having to take all of like a rebel at the same time, you can smoke off one section, isolate these fights really easily. It's a really heavy team fight, brawl comp, and that's exactly how EDG is playing. We've seen FPX find success with this comp internationally before. It'll be the first time that EDG is playing it on a global stage, though.
Oh boy. Well, we'll see the agent select here in a moment as players are all seated and ready to go. Obviously, in these moments here, the pressure is on, without a doubt. But if you're EDG, you know, you feel a little bit better about this considering how things went on Sunset.
If you think back to the previous times you've seen this match, it has been like this before. It gets messy, the gloves come off, it comes down to the fight. And PRX are making a change. Solo Omen, solo Sky composition with a double duelist jet raise. That is a weird one in 2024.
Wow.
I don't really know what to make of this.
You know
they
what?
have the double duelist on defense and
go out your own way. Do it your own way, I guess.
You get shot.
It's gonna be
you die.
It's gonna be a death match. Basically, this map is gonna be a death match. It's just like everyone just taking these fights. I just want to see Chichu getting involved a little bit more. I believe he's starting on that defense side though. So yeah. So yeah, deathmatch.
Or on the attack to start for EDG. It's chaos here, but one of these teams here is coming to an end. And with the way they play, I feel like it couldn't go any other way.
All right, well, let's see how this all shakes out. My goodness, what a roller coaster this has been. Brendan Sideshow, have fun.
Oh, you know me. I mean, listen, man, listen. It's incredible that these two teams agreed to the gentleman's agreement to have the final map be played as a deathmatch. But yeah, I am buzzing and looking forward to this one here because this is two teams. They ripe in the mud. That word was getting tossed around quite a bit on the desk. And they love to clash and fight here.
Well, here's a big clash happening towards A Rubble to begin. And with both of these compositions, I'm looking at them, it looks like EDG should have a big advantage in any Rubble fights.
Yeah, already seeing it. It's a flash to try and set them up nice and early here, but a nade cuts out the rest of Kang's team. EDG.
Nice damage.
And PRX decide not to commit. They're looking to not even really trap, because otherwise you'd be expecting Mindfreak to be playing at that door. They're looking to just go for a 5-person re-clear.
And it's being held. There's almost an expectation of it from EDG with a Paranoia crossing its way up. And the noise cut. EDG, advantages to be found and had here, especially when the shots don't land and find that mark. Kang He's doing entirely all that here. And the shotgun to the corner. It's beautiful.
Jelek.
And set the stage. And our map 3 devotion for EDG. They were so damn aware.
Yeah, that's such a sick read from EDG. The call there to completely hide, wait for PaperX to re-clear, and notice that even when PaperX are re-clearing, they don't trigger the fight. They only trigger the fight when the dog is used, when they realize that they're not just going to leave. EDG wanted the A site without any fuss. They didn't want to cause any trouble, but PaperX had to decide to take the fight, so they made them pay.
Now with the guns in their hands as well, once more, same beginning. Doors opened up though.
I think the reason that PaperX have changed their composition, by the way, to one that they used to run in the past, is because they're facing the Neon, Double Initiator, Clove. EDG's comp should want to go fast. It pushes a lot on the defense side as well. And so having those trips up, I guess PaperX are just thinking is more valuable than running the double duelist, double initiator comp that they were previously testing out.
Yeah, it can be incredibly good.
It's an old comp though.
Heavy committal. This is Kang. Only 20 bullets into the clip. Luckily, he's got teammates and backup in spades. Nobody shuts down the eco round.
It gets fairly close to Nightfall. Probably won't have it online for round 3. So looking like a bit of a dry bonus, but we'll have that for one of these potential swing rounds. At the end of the day though, with all of our conversation around the compositions, I got to think back. The smartest man I know once said, you get shot, you die. And he was quoting you.
Oh,
so,
well, how about that?
Yeah. Even some smart people will repeat what you say.
Exactly. Some signs of intelligent life coming from me. Nade up and over. This is PaperX opting into the fight. The skirmish once more, but with Jing toppling, falling, something not able to evacuate. That was an
orang-orang ni lagi jelek banget loh.
Committed! Can't reset the aim. Only the one player found from that one. Devigo and re-exploring. Util out into the few hands of these players, but already he's going to be aware of it, and yet sees the barrel. So now he knows his timing taken against him, but the Prowler waiting it. No way, peek not to get, but still it's there! The Forsaken right behind him for EDG to barrel them over.
Brutal beginning to PaperX's Lotus. A map that they enjoy playing, but after how Sunset went, this is looking like a massive turnaround, a flip compared to map 1. EDG pick up pistol, pick up the bonus round. This is what catapulted them to success in the second half of Sunset.
Gila nih.
Already.
Individual.
Couldn't be more different reactions from the coaching staff.
Ngeri banget.
Death slam. You know what that signifies? The timeout button being hit.
After 3 rounds.
Yep.
The tag timeout.
And again, I mean, when it comes to strategy, it could be something as simple as like, guys, stop trying to opt into this A-Rubble fight when you're getting outvalued util. It could also just be mentality. It could just be him trying to calm the nerves. But the reason this is absurd is because Alex has literally just had the opportunity to do that 3 rounds ago before they were in the map.
Yeah, but he's obviously not focused on a specific element that PaperX are then messing up, or just wants to reiterate something, get them back onto the right track. It is crazy early for a tag timeout like this though, and I think that indicates the stakes in this kind of situation. Everything that we were talking about on Icebox, about it being bitter disappointment for EDG, them fighting to break through in China, getting overtaken, they can't go in groups and have a year of bombing out, everything there also applies, perhaps even more to PaperX.
It's mirrored, I think.
They used to fight for trophies. Been overtaken in Pacific, and now they might end up going out in groups here at Champs. A fate that they've met before. Though that did precipitate a roster change.
It certainly did. Once more, EDG. Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These A hits have been given access to the sites over and over again.
They realize it's a retake setup. They don't have very much retake utility on PaperX, so you've only got to worry about
Skyflash
and a paranoia, really.
Trailblazer and the Boombots already being used to try and
Are they leaving?
Later path for PRX, yeah. I mean, the Utah's already been
What?
PRX have read it. This is strange from EDG. They had the read, and now they're going into the
Kang! Goodness me, close quarter combating. He's hoping and opting in for that upgrade, but it just opens his backup prime. For the bullet to the back here, Smoggy. Also supplements off to the side, off angle from Divide, but not enough to stay alive, Simon!
Gila tembakannya.
Gracious me.
Tajam semua.
He has been so consistent for them in those tight situations, in the tough spots. Simon has been there already, paying dividends. The value that he's brought to this team. He's not always at the top of the scoreboard. He doesn't have the prettiest stats in the world, but he's good for big moments. That's an important asset for a new player to have. Bailed them out of a tough spot there. All smiles and laughter for Haodong, but that one got a little dangerous. And something has the op.
I mean, how do you even play this? The posture of the Util, though, EDG faking like they've taken this Rubble control once more, this time walking into a different direction.
PRX are leaving gaps all over the map.
B is open entirely, and it's being read by EDG. They're already into the fight. Sometimes... Yeah, I mean, Divide, spam down. What is that? Just into the corner, tucked. Maybe seeking to play spoiler. Nobody pushed back. Off and away from the plan. Once more, another tap. He's seeing if there's any more Utah. Well, that came from PRX. Shut out entirely from this B site. The composition itself is just not situated for these retakes. The amount of util that they have is essentially gone. As soon as Divide falls and gets taken out of the fight here, the Haunt dealt with something with the dash as well, but there's no value to be had. Nobody's giving him that fight. And what a call to make. It looks like they're just going for the save.
That's brutal.
Dude.
If you don't want to play these retakes, though, why are you putting all of your Cypher utility and your operator on the same site?
That's the question.
And leaving B completely open. They 3-stack C, they put their op on the Cypher A. So both of those sites, very difficult to crack into. And you could give credit here to EDG that they've been conditioning A fights over and over at the beginning of this game. So maybe PRX felt comfortable in some degree that it wasn't just going to be a fast B hit. But if you do leave it open like that, there is no Viper wall you can put up to flash yourself in and try to isolate the entry. There's no snake bite, no nanoswap, nothing like that that you can use to try to isolate Kong from the rest of the team.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying no way at your analysis. It's all fine and dandy. I'm saying no way at this. It's a second timeout from PRX. We're in round 6 of map 3. It's an elimination game. It's the final game of groups. Your final path to playoffs for the final event of the year. And this signifies to me just a complete collapse.
PRX udah nggak bisa mikir.
Yeah, it's brutal that Alex feels like he has to hit the panic button after 3 rounds and then after 2 more. He just spoke to them. If you want to think about how PRX's year has gone, a bit of a miracle run by their own words for them in Madrid to be able to make 3rd place. They got a podium finish, something they're very used to, had many of those last year. But they went from that 3rd, slipping down in Shanghai to a 5th, 6th. Now looking like they might end up getting grouped here at Champs. Are they getting worse? Is there more competition? Is this a signifier that something doesn't work about their playstyle, that they're going to have a reboot? All of these questions are going to be asked if indeed it plays out like this.
Yeah, swirling and circling around this team. Because it has to be pulled back here and now for PRX. There's no more time for the coaching staff. Alex to step back in.
This looks like a much more sensible defensive setup, though. I think Alex is already calling to spread out this stuff. Get the Cypher over C, get the op posted B.
What's going on here? Mindfreak has just opened up the door wide here. The sightline called. Holding over the shoulder with the operator through to Mount, and is called for this pause. EDG making sure to let these PRX players simmer. Time has been bought, though. Following the sound cues, PRX are in position to potentially take this fight forwards with the Boombot. Tagging it up into the corner. They're going to be aware that there's a player. Holding onto the corner into this angle with the Seekers and another flash to play themselves in. This time, the gunplay, it does come up for the goods. Nice. And they are winning the day, paving the way to a successful round But Kang's got something to say about it. Up and over the box, cannot stop Jing.
Let's go.
Feeling empowered of the rest of his team behind him. They get that round on the board, eliminating the goose egg.
There's only 2 pieces of plant denial in Paper X's comp. The nade and the showstopper when Jing has it online. So they've got to be more creative in ways of slowing EDG down. Instead of throwing utility to get ready to set up for a flood retake like that, they open the door, which slows EDG down and stops them from getting the plant until Paper X are in position. Beautiful end. There was still some anti-synergy even then though, because they opened the door and popped the cage at the same time. So they cut off their own op sight line. Another rubble fight, you gotta be kidding me. EDG are gonna be loving this.
Mass pings all about here. Showstopper, no worries or concerns because of the rolling thunder still. Adjustment, Showstopper to kills, and the bullets at least lay claim to the life of Chichu, and now the rolling thunder to get EDG back in there. Bullet to the back of the head of Devi, could not evacuate in time.
Something trying to get aggressive on the flank.
And he's going to be finding it, Smokey. Standing his ground. So going to plug in the gaps potentially there in case the flanks were online. Brought to that 3 versus 3. EDG now with that tempo increase. They want to speed this one up into the ace. Jing, there's no way you're taking this, man. You have no teammates to back you up. You want to take the fight straight up. You could have waited still. Forsaken has been played in and does get that trade in play. Anticipation is there, but a shoulder peeking out is all something needs to claim and collect the kill. With the dash now active once more. Putting a squeeze down, nobody surviving for a rainy day, but a wrap around, up and away. Heaven player expected, missing the timing is Forsaken, who grasps it.
Second onto the board. Forsaken saves the operator, and that push out from something made all the difference. He had to get that timing and punish EDG for not running a Sentinel in their composition. Otherwise, they had so many options to maneuver around the map. He forced EDG to speed up as soon as Smoggy went down. And then, you're right, Jing, it looked a little adventurous the first time, but eventually got that synergy working with Forsaken. Can EDG still be playing aggressive whilst covering the flanks? I was critical the last time they stacked their operator on the same side of the Cypher, but this time, at least they have that trip B, and they've made the right read.
Flash and Haunted over as well, so something can't take that early. Line of sight angle, but now does the dash. The Prowler spotted! His head just poking clean out. It's taken off of his shoulders. Kang straight up in there, Jing. Wants to try and even this one out with a bullet flying forwards again. He has not been cleaned up, but he's trying to play his team back in, and Forsaken, he's dropped as a result of it. It's crumbled again here for Paper X. Just trying to play fast and loose into the site. Flood anchoring the defense. Broken and crumbled. Devi with a trailblazer, spotting these players out with the paranoia. It's good to play themselves in, but Jing is caught, blinded up by it, and as the smokes fade away, there's no chance, no hope. It's Chicho with 3. Wraps up the round nice and pretty, and puts that 6-1 down on the board here for EDG.
Kang is not going to get caught by an op play like that. He read it so well, got aggressive into the site, making space for the rest of the team. And Paper X just didn't have that setup they needed to go for the retake.
Nice!
I am loving the Howdong. Wow! We've heard it a couple times now, and it's getting better and better. Paper X have 4 players over towards A. They want to control Rubble. They need that comfort that A is locked off. Their comp doesn't thrive with it though, and EDG have taken B instantly.
Kalian nggak bisa retake,
The gaps that the composition leaves open. A B plan, a slight tap from nobody, but now to commit. Oh, something! He's so ahead of his team, they just can't quite play off of this one. There's a flash into the faces again to push them back and away with the door open. Forsaken, not anticipating it. Fully blinded though. Devi, not willing to give up the sights, but smoked off, cut out of the picture. It's him against 3. No more money to buy for the next tier. A bitter pill to swallow, that you just have to save it away. Keep the rifle into the next, give up another round for EDG, because at this point, EDG, they are running away with it.
No.
It might look like unorthodox compositions on both sides, but there could not be a bigger gap in terms of value from the picks at the moment. PaperX's defense, honestly, it's not been their stronger side on Lotus historically. So maybe you could throw some cope out there and say, oh, well, you know, if they get up to 4 or something and grab the pistol. But the trade came through so late, like even the small details. I love the movement from something. It's fantastic. That next player needs to be through the door immediately. You can't be waiting for the paranoia to come through or sync it up at the same
masuk
time.
playoff nih kayaknya.
It feels rusty from PaperX, like they've pulled an old comp out of the wardrobe and it's full of moth holes.
With those gaps as well, holes as you put it, it's EDG. Here, ready to try and capitalize. Simon, shredded with bullets. Calling for the reclear and backup.
There.
Kong spots one. Expecting some kind of bait and switch.
Anjir, Kang chance-nya gede ya.
Just going for the old tried and tested here, just trying to follow these sound cues. Chichu denied that chance of any sort of information, but Kang's going to be dropped here. The stun was good! And already racking up the kills. His team happy to play off the back of it. An open sight once more. Rifle in the hands of Mind Freak. Forsaken is very much isolated though, in through the sight as well. Shoulder spotted, nobody gets that information. Calls for the rest of his team here. Weapons are going to be picked up, but again in inevitability, EDG. Fault line. Just roots Forsaken out of spot. There's no safety to be held at the back of that site there. 8-2 EDG.
And they can feel it. What a recovery. What a turnaround. Losing map 1 13-3. And then kind of pasting PaperX on their own map pick. Halting a 12-map win streak on Sunset. And now demolishing them on Lotus. The momentum could not be more one-sided. The scales have tipped thoroughly in EDG's favor. They go fake a rubble fight, hoping that they bait out a push over towards Mound. Jing doesn't bite. Not this time. Making the rotate himself over through Waterfall. Leaving C weak, leaving B weak, going to reinforce a site that EDG have no interest in.
Bang, belum ada
Was 8. I mean, PaperX are doing this play when they already have a deep cam that's committed.
That's what I'm talking about. It's in no way refined, what we're watching from PaperX's defense. I think they've pulled this comp out because they thought it would be a good counter to EDG, and they're just not practiced enough with it. Not anymore. Maybe tides will turn on the attack side. Something possibly could have made me believe with that peak.
Just daring him to fight. Follow up past it. The camera's finally broken. A dealt with Divine. That's a peak. And you're just never going to be favoured there. Too many positions to play the ante from. EDG once more. Roll out the red carpet at this point. It's easy access to these sites, and the retakes just have not been there. But PaperX will make a good go of things once more. This time out through the back. Satchel's in play. Attack from Simon. There's that uncertainty out and through. Not in yet. Smoggy back into the fight and the fray, but the kills collected. Bodies toppled, falling. Smoggy needs to be given something here to play his teammate in, but nobody's now going to be that last one left. Into a 1v2.
Menang tapi
12
jelek.
seconds. Whistled down to almost 0. And 2 bullets left in the chamber. There's no more options. Has to stick it for any chance, and Forsaken knows it. Wrapping around a third on the board here for PaperX. The question is it too little, too late?
These pre-takes are the only things working for PaperX. They had many players heaven as the plant was going down. Finally got the read that they were on the right side and hit it with huge amounts of aggression. EDG didn't have anybody that deep that could really stop them. But like I said, that's the only thing that's been working for them. Can they find another option to do that? Can they make the showstopper turn into a round victory? An 8-4 half with a pistol. Suddenly, there may be a glimmer, a flicker of hope.
Salvageable. Forsaken's just opened up the door wide.
Anjir, dibuka
Cam's
pintunya.
got a little bit of info.
Yeah, spotted that out and not actually broken as well as a result.
I'm not sure how much he saw though. He was barely on it for a second. He's just looking for question marks on the mini-map. Don't know whether he saw any.
Yeah. Around has been slowed down to a crawl though.
But again, PRX have got their defensive players in the right site, unless this is a pivot.
Ball's broken. Fault line as well to try and play Kang into this spot with a trip broken down. Something might want to make a go of things here. Here, the ult popped off as well. Kang! That's a return of the fire. Something dropped. Now a B side could be that potential option, and a paranoia already wasted out. PRX no longer having that tool to play with smokes up in their face. Aftershock as well. Ryan Freak does peek up the flash and plays himself in, but EDG still holding strong. Not willing to be displaced from this position. PRX might have that surrounded, but again, they are fully aware, EDG, knowing all the tricks at the sleeves of the PRX players, a seize of the connection, all the acknowledgement you need. An open sight for the taking on to C, and an impossible situation for Jing to play.
EDG baiting out so many of the tools that PRX wanted to play off. Absolutely broken something in that moment. He may never be the same player again after what Kang just did to him. But they baited out the showstopper. Jing found no value. Baited out all the flashes from Divide. Punish him with a shot to the head. 9-3. If there is a glimmer of hope, it is a dark, small light
bisa
in a
comeback?
vast cavern.
Halftime 2 menit. Lumayan lama juga. Ini mah lanjut main lah ya.
In the series when they just got flattened map 1. The resilience is on display, and at the back of their minds, an unwillingness to go home. They need to prove that they can reach greater heights than they have done before in the past, and it starts with getting past an old rival. It starts with getting out of the groups.
Playoffs on the horizon. Both of these teams, they're only a map win away from getting through to playoffs, and as Alex said earlier in the coach interview, having that extra lifeline, having the ability to troll a little and be experimental with what you're doing. But one of these teams is so much closer to that map victory than the other. Double Sheriff in the hands of EDG. Smoggy's been lights out anytime he's played on Lotus, anytime he's playing Clove.
And this is a squeeze being applied, at least to feign like they could be trying to fight over towards Mound and section of B from EDG. I think the goal of it potentially is to cause a pivot from PRX into the high-low setup that they've got going on. At least with the Sheriffs, it's a cool strategy that EDG have brought out into the pistol, but...
High-lows.
Yeah.
All over the place, on C, on A.
And this could tear PRX apart already to peaks if they're not timed correctly, which they're not. EDG ready for it, nobody still alive towards the back of the site, and no anticipation that it could have peaked himself over it. 3 in a round, denied the 4, but Chichu is fully there. The cleanup.
Absolutely in control, EDG. If it went over towards A, high-low, set up towards stairs. Horn didn't get broken, full information, dropped back into a high-low setup, and Simon and nobody, the IGL and the newcomer, doing so much work.
And that is elation because EDG can feel it, primed and ready to pounce. That last spot of the playoffs. It's almost theirs for the taking. No force in sight from PRX. Not opting into this one. They need the guns, but it is just shambolic. Smoggy. Pure mechanics on display, and he will just rip them all away.
11-3. EDG with no concept of mercy. No thought in the back of their mind of taking their foot off the neck of PRX. Friends outside the server, bitter, bitter rivals inside. Smoggy is keeping them away.
And it is just pure emotion, isn't it? A matchup that just failed in so many times against this team. For PRX, guns in their hands. Now is the time to make the most of it. That bit over aggressive. EDG making a go of things here. They're still hard committing into the fight. They make the call as well to try and collect themselves together, but the weaponry not favored on these long sight lines at least. PRX essentially just swat away these EDG players.
This was a strat that Foot very much struggled with. They found the right reaction by pushing into C, but then couldn't play the post plants properly. This time, PRX hold on. And like you say, use that advantage of having better long-range weaponry. EDG are not going to fight like that in every round, though. It's something they'll throw in occasionally, and maybe less so now that PRX have showcased they're willing to stand their ground and fight. Forsaken, it is good to see him popping heads. He was notably absent on Sunset. A bit more passive, a bit more supportive on the breach, and he couldn't find the rifling.
Tapi udah lemes.
I mean, that is
nyanyi tapi udah lemes.
Back with the pressure for PRX. They are just having fun with it.
I mean, they've been in these positions before. They know the secret. It's just to have a short-term memory.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I mean, that's just so funny.
Devi is right on the money, though. It has to happen round by round, one at a time. Orbs farmed up. Mass migration now over towards the A side here. Chichu
apakah
ketahuan? But there's less to really threaten him off this spot when there's no Viper in the play as well. He can just jiggle this one for a bit of util, and he's even got Simon to help him out. With the Trailblazer cleared its way through. I believe both rifles fired off something. The dash to disengage and pull that one back and around. Forsaken. Cam up forwards. He spotted Kang, but doesn't want to try and take that fight towards it. Nobody with the door opened up wide will have to at least concede that space, give it up, and hold the C's. Now into his hands, lets it loose. What a connection! Just absolutely running over these players. PRX steamrolled in the process. Jing, he'll have to do it all. But Aftershock in his back satchel away, and the aim reset just not there in time. EDG up to 12.
Masuk playoff, nggak masuk playoff.
Nobody's utility was phenomenal last time we got to watch them on Lotus. He had seizes all over the place, connecting, and he's doing it again.
What the
seize is amazing, Smoggy's follow-up is great, and then he just jumps in knowing that the rest of his team's got his back. And I think a bit of that,
this is it,
stoic nature needs to be given to Alex here.
And let's get back into the fight, because it could just be ending in a blink of an eye. The series, the tournament lifeline for PRX. Warded and postured. As I've said prior, they can't hold a candle to the amount of util that EDG can just pull out. The A rubble control is theirs for now. One way's rejuvenated. PRX holding, biding their time, waiting to strike. The counter spam is there, updraft up and around as well. Swinging through, Paranoia is there, Showstopper needs that value. Jing, he's not alive, doesn't expect it. Up on the high ground, Chichu, he's trying to shut them down. Nobody's by his side, but the rifles, maybe. There's a lifeline. Into the hands of PRX and still with a minute to play with.
Tapi comeback pun berat anjir. 12-4.
Smoggy still with his ultimate. An eerie calm drops towards rubble. An area that's known so much bloodshed, and almost all of it going the way of EDG in this map. PRX have carved out a small opening. Do they think
nobody nih dapat dua?
Nobody could shut this down, Devi. The awareness is there.
Balasnya Smoggy.
Surely too difficult of a situation for Smoggy, even with how well he's been playing.
There's no time.
There's 15 seconds.
This time pressure could just spell defeat. And for Smoggy to be the hero his team needs in this spot to buy. Planting, Medal is used first. Lowering them down! Spraying them down! Smoggy destroys the hopes and dreams of PRX. Knocks them out of groups. Revenge
Gak masuk,
has
gak
been
masuk.
earned. And a playoff picture potential there. EDG, the chances for them to go on a run now to reach greater heights than they have in the past have never been more present.
Well, after map 1, it did not look like we were going to be seeing EDG making their way to playoffs. The second Chinese team to get out of groups behind explosive Trace, who surprised us all. But it is bitter disappointment there for PRX. A team used to fighting for trophies, who've been in those spots before in grand finals appearances, overtaken this year domestically by Gen G, and now grouped for the second time at Champions in their history. A rough year sliding downwards for them. It's a long off season to think over what could have been, but it's hugs on stage. They respect EDG, and how could you not? This team rallied back and put on a show. Smoggy's individual performance was outstanding.
That was elite. 21-6 is where he's ended it all.
Very fitting way for it to end.
Yeah, it really is. Despite EDG being the last to qualify here for our playoffs, they are right on time for it. And as I said earlier, the world is essentially their oyster. You get that fresh reset as you head into the playoffs as well. And for them, a chance as well to do a little bit better than the disappointment at Shanghai.
And not just Shanghai, this is only their second win this year at a global event. Had they gone home, it would have been devastating their year as a whole. Not making it out of basically any situation. They got gifted that playoffs berth previously. Didn't necessarily earn it by beating international competition, but here today they have. They've turned a new leaf and are looking to try to bring that momentum further into playoffs. It's going to be a tough road ahead, but I have been impressed with this squad.
Yeah. The improvements I think they've made, match in, match out, they've shown that resilience, I think. Even in just this series alone, they've shown that they can make those comebacks happen. Mental fortitude, however you want to describe it, but also just, I think, the strategy, the level that I saw from them in their match against G2 earlier, where they can anti-strat, they can play against the team's strengths. This is a squad that has that potential to go further, and now they've earned their chance to just do that entirely here. We're going to be sending it down to the stage in just a moment for that Verizon post-match interview. Not too sure who's down there as well, but not just that, yeah, Chichu. And also the setup as well for the draw show. We're going to be finding out exactly how our playoffs are going to be set up.
Main nggak ya? Sepi anjir. Tidak ada orang. Lanjut nanti lah ya. Kalau ada orang. Thank you. Yang udah nonton, thank you yang udah nge-like. Bye bye.